And they're 2x2 getting ready for the start of this one, Steve. And you mentioned everywhere on the racetrack. This is a racetrack that right now is wide, 55 feet. You mentioned it's going to be narrowed to 40. But as we saw earlier on the pre-race show, there's still a lot of room to move around, even at that.
Oh, there's a ton of room, and guys are going to use every bit of it. The other thing is this has always been a 500-mile race. We haven't seen a 400-mile race in Atlanta for decades. I think that's going to increase the intensity. And if that doesn't do it, the weather will. Weather in the area, we had a shower earlier. You see right here, weather's kind of creeping up. It's not imminent, it's kind of just scattering all around. But if you know the Atlanta area in the summer, a thunder shower could pop up. That could be there at any time. So I think these drivers have to go right away.
Let's listen into the 4 radio.
I know how much this place means to you. It means a lot to us because of you, so go out there and finish it off. 10-4, man. Have some fun today. Good luck. Have a good day in there in the pits, boys.
Kevin Harvick's first Cup win came right here at Atlanta. And now it's Georgia's own Chase Elliott that is leading the field to the green flag here with Kyle Busch on his outside. That inside line will be the preferred line on not only the start but restarts today too. Racing in Atlanta, Georgia. Great start. Chase Elliott rockets out to the lead. Christopher Bell in the 20 on the outside of teammate. And the 11, Denny Hamlin. Three wide entering turn 3 on this first lap.
Kyle Larson jumped up there and made it 3 wide on the outside. Joe Logano filled that hole.
Tyler Reddick in the 8 on the inside. Now that 20 of Christopher Bell still trying to use that outside line. And here comes the 5 of Kyle Larson.
That outside line in 1 and 2 will be a very popular place, but normally as the tires age on these brand new tires, it seems like you can make the best time right where the 9 is. Chase Elliott, that lead car, it's going to take me a few laps, as Dave pointed out. Red and black, new colors for the 9. The 18 of Kyle Busch, yesterday's winner, right in tow.
Making up some ground here is the 8 of Tyler Reddick, but there the momentum comes into play for Denny Hamlin and the 11.
Christopher Bell to the inside of the 8 car down the back straightaway, using the momentum from the top. Looking at the racetrack, it looks like it still has a pretty good amount of rubber on it from yesterday's race in the Xfinity Series. These guys using the whole racetrack. Marty.
Boy, Junior, just getting the feel that Atlanta's Tyler Reddick's kind of racetrack. You can go top, bottom, wherever you want to run here. But before they came to the green, he reported a problem to the team. Listen on the radio.
The cool shooter is working. It was working, but whatever is connected to the driver's van, something's making a bunch of noise. It sounds like it's burning up, and I smell it burning up. So I turned it off.
He also said that the driver air hose to the helmet is not working either. So, Junior, before you're coming to the green flag, is that something that would worry you? A little bit cloudy, a little bit cooler today. I'm sure that will help.
Yeah, it's never good. It's not going to be a comfortable day without helmet, without air moving in the helmet, but it's going to happen. You want it to be on a day when it's not too hot. It is a little humid out there. As long as that sun stays behind the clouds, though, it doesn't heat up the interior of that car too much, he should be okay. It's just going to be a little more work. He's been working really hard outside the race car to stay in better shape. So that's going to pay off for him.
He's also working really hard in the car. He and Matty D with a big battle. Now Reddick on the outside trying to make it 3 wide. Larson on the bottom. Really going to get pulled back. That run Reddick got on the outside. Big aggressive move. I tell you one thing that worries me about both the cool vest and the helmet blower going out, Steve, is that a bigger problem from an electrical standpoint? I mean, those are 2 separate units, and both of them going out. That concerns me that they might have a bigger issue.
We've worked together too long, Jeff, because you were reading my mind. I was thinking, I don't know, like 2 electrical things both going out at the same time. We're going to hope for this team that maybe they're on the same electrical circuit, Rick, and there's something to do with the fuse, because to Jeff's point, you know, there are other things much more vital for the car's performance that, unfortunately for the driver, he can run without a little cool suit, but the car itself is going to have to stay cool.
We'll keep our eye on that. 84 degrees currently the outside temperature as he tries to make the move now on Christopher Bell.
There you see Martin Truex Jr. working his way from the back of the field. Already gotten by Kevin Harvick, who's struggling out of the gate here at a track that we know he's very good at. Still trying to find the pace in that 4-car.
Harvick started 21st, down to 28th right now.
Yeah, it's just, you expect them to move a little, forward into the top 20, but to fall further back is something that you just don't ever see from this team.
And the opposite of that, as you guys mentioned, Martin Truex Jr. up to 25th already after starting in the back.
And we talk a lot about Kevin Harvick because of his success and how important this race is to probably measure where the 4-car is. But Jeff, you've been very vocal about your disappointment with the 19 of Martin Truex Jr. through the summer as well. And I just feel at some point I have to see something out of this 19 car for me to have a lot of confidence heading into the playoffs. And with road courses coming up and Daytona Superspeedway, there's just not a lot of what I'll call standard playoff type racetracks.
Yeah, we're accustomed to see him just absolutely flying through the field when they start in the back. And he's made ground up, but not like they do when they're at their best. And they just haven't shown it over the last few months.
Yeah, look at how hard it is for him to find out how to get the car to the bottom of the racetrack. He missed the bottom of the track, meaning that the car really has a lot more grip when you can get the left front tire on that little green stripe right next to the apron. There's a lot more grip there, so you want to connect the tire to that, unless you do run this high line that he's running now. But when you run that bottom, if you come off of that apron, you really lose. It's 2 to 3 tenths a lap when you do that. Marty, what you got on the 4-car?
Well, yeah, I think you guys are right. We don't expect to see Kevin Harvick drop 8 spots almost immediately back to 27th. But when I talked to Kevin pre-race, he said, I'm going to be committed to the bottom. In fact, it's kind of become a verb here at Atlanta. It's called Harvicking. You run the very bottom of the racetrack. He said, I'm going to be committed to it. You have to stay disciplined to run it, but you won't see me off the bottom the entire day. And there he is right on that green line. He said, I'm going to paint that all day long. It may not be pretty early in the race, but I know the longer this race goes, it's worked for me in the past. I'm hoping it works today. But Junior, you can talk about that discipline it takes to run on the very bottom of the racetrack while everybody else is 4 and 5 lanes up high.
That's why I love running the top, because it didn't take much discipline to run up there. You can just sail it off to the top and run right against the fence, and the fence creates a little bit of a cushion, a side force coming off of the car, that air, and it gives you a little bit more grip in the rear, in the side of the car. And so you see the 18 car using that to his advantage, creating a lot of speed up there. Plus, you're in the gas earlier than the guy on the bottom. The guy on the bottom is feathering the gas, trying to get it wide open, having trouble doing it. You on the top are to the gas, and you beat him off the corner and then down the next straightaway. When it works, it is so much fun.
Couple options here then, as the low line is being covered by Chase Elliott. The high line, the 18 of Kyle Busch. Can he get the lead here as he slides by on the outside?
They thought about blocking and they said, no, better not. Just too much pace.
Yeah, when that car off the top has that much momentum and you pull up in front of him, that's a green light to get run over and turned into the wall. So you don't want to do that. And he did. You give him a little bit of room to be able to keep that momentum that he worked hard to create on the top, down the back straightaway.
And watch this, Kyle Busch has been really fast in 1 and 2 on the top because of the speed on the exit. Look at all of that speed he's got. Chase Elliott can do nothing about it this time. Just nothing to do but to let him go. Down in 3 and 4, Kyle immediately to the bottom of the racetrack because Chase was better than he was on the bottom in 3 and 4. Kyle better 1 and 2 on the top.
Kyle Busch out front now. Chase Elliott falls back to second. In caution coming to 25. Make sure to download the official app of NASCAR. Follow the action with free live scoring. There's in-car cameras and a radio broadcast. You can just search NASCAR in your app store to download and start a free trial today. It's overcast day. A good look from up above. Aerial coverage brought to you by Geico. As we see the 18 still out front. Chase Elliott led the first 13 laps. Kyle Busch has been out front for 6. And these drivers, we talked about this old surface and how difficult it is. Well, this vantage point maybe not that difficult, but look at these guys sawing the wheels.
Ryan Newman through the corner, that was hilarious. I mean, this is where you're going to see it the most of any other racetrack. Ryan Blaney through the corner working really hard. Newman again.
Look how rough the track is as well. Look how much the drivers are moving around.
We're on board of Denny's car down the back straightaway. Taking a breather, man. Back to work. Look at the momentum he's going to create off the top here, off turn 4 on this 9 car in front of him. Closes in so slowly. He's going to go to the bottom here. So Chase, he sees Chase at the last second decide to run that top. And the instinct of the driver is to go where you're not. Get that clean air to the inside here, off of turn 2.
That was close off of turn 2.
Making those decisions at the last second, just like right there. Chase going to the bottom, and he makes the decision at the last second to run the top instead.
And what that does is that you didn't enter the corner really the way you wanted to, right? Had you been able to go in there with a game plan, you would have entered high, and run high. Instead, he kind of entered low and then went to the wall, just trying to go wherever Chase isn't. This time, he said, I'm going to the top no matter what, and he entered the corner accordingly. Look at the run he's got on Chase. Chase has been committed to this bottom this entire run.
You mentioned the entire run, Jeff. As you see Denny Hamlin pull to the bottom, see if we'll be able to clear the 9 down here in 3 and 4 with the competition yellow just 2 laps away. Drivers didn't really have to worry about tire wear. These tires can easily go 20, I say easily. They should be able to go 25 laps without a lot of concern as the 9 gets a great run off the top. We'll cross the 11 over. This battle is hot and heavy here.
Oh, Chase, man, really loose right there, trying to keep that car right next to the apron. Through the bumps, it upsets the car so much in turn 1 and 2 on the bottom of the track. Dave, what you got on the 9 car?
So he lost the lead to Kyle Busch, now has lost second place to Denny Hamlin. Listen to what he said on the radio moments ago.
Man, I'm just trying to figure out how to drive this. It's very odd. I'm having a hard time keeping it off the right front. Keep working at it.
So that's very interesting to me, because when I talked to his crew chief, Alan Gustafson, this morning, I said, how different are you on the car than you were here in March? He said, yeah, we're trying some stuff, but we're only about a 2 out of 10 different. Apparently that's enough difference to make the car feel odd to Elliott. Marty?
Dave, closing in on the comp caution here, and a lot of drivers are saying they don't have their timing and scoring on their dash. Now, this is not something that drivers have had forever, just the last couple of years, but they'll use that timing and scoring. Junior, we had a robust debate about whether or not you actually would use it as a driver, but I think at a place like Atlanta where you're searching around as the comp caution comes out, that timing and scoring could come in handy.
Yeah, I guess these drivers having that information in front of them for so many races now, they're used to getting it. They're used to using it as a tool to see whether they're making gains or changing their line is helping or not. I could hardly take any time to look around the dash. I was focused out the windshield trying to figure out how to get around the racetrack. These guys have so much more to pay attention to these days.
Yeah, I enjoyed that information coming from the spotter. Every lap I'd get a lap time. I just thought that helped me build a rhythm. And on a track, we just saw in 26 laps, the times fell off 2 seconds. 2 seconds of fall off. So the drivers are constantly searching, trying to find a way to make their car go around here the best they can.
All I needed to hear was, that's a good lap. Because if you said a lap time, I'm like, I don't know if that's slow or fast.
I knew. Yep. That's a good lap. And then, unfortunately, it'd be like, hey, man, search around a little bit. That's a polite way of saying this. These lap times are not working.
Denny Hamlin grabbing a moment here to get a drink under this caution. NBC Sports on Sirius XM coming up live on Wednesday at 9 a.m. Eastern. Jeff Burton will join the crew. That's NASCAR Radio Channel 90. Jeff will be able to talk to us about what happened here at Atlanta in this final race before the repave, and also look ahead to New Hampshire, which is coming up next weekend.
Talk a lot about Atlanta, a lot about the surface, a lot about the drivers. One other thing about Atlanta is there's not a lot of gimmicks when it comes to pit strategy. When the caution comes out, if you have tires, you're putting them on. 4 tires every time down, and that is why these men and women up and down pit road, today is what you practice for. You know, it's like, well, did that guy do 2 tires? Did that guy do this? No, it's 4 tires up and down pit road. Pit stalls are pretty good size. A good stop means a ton here. A lot of pressure on the pit crews.
And we saw a wrench in one of the crew members' mouths there. Obviously, if they're going to change 4 tires, want to make some type of an adjustment, they got to do that as well. Marty.
That wrench belonged to Denny Hamlin's team, and that was a spirited battle between he and Chase Elliott for the 2nd position. What Denny was saying is, I just can't finish the corner quite as well as I would like to. A little too tight. That's the biggest complaint for the 11 right now, Dave.
3rd place Chase Elliott said his car is, quote, loaded turning, and he goes too far in his pit box, has to put it in reverse. He'll lose time there. They were talking about making a big adjustment to help that. Now he's going to lose time just on that mistake by the driver. Meanwhile, Kyle Busch, his car very good right now. Just a little bit of looseness compressing in turn 3, but that's only on the low line. The top line has been very good. He's going to lose 1st place to his teammate.
Yeah, we see Tyler Reddick making up a spot here. I'm not sure he even stopped. That was a quick stop if he was in there, because he made up some ground. Well, Hamlin gains a spot.
Well, I was going to say, there's a full pit road. You see the 9 of Chase Elliott long in his box. He's going to have to back up. Great recovery, but the damage was done.
Getting ready to restart here at the NASCAR Cup Series racing from Atlanta. This telecast presented by Press Tree.
A little surprising here. The 18 was the 2nd car off pit road. I thought he would have took inside lane behind his teammate. We'll see how it works out there, drivers.
That outside lane has always been very difficult to get launched at this racetrack, but if you're going to have to learn it right now early in the race.
Does a nice job.
See if that high line will work. Tyler Reddick in the 8 pushing the 11 into turn 1.
I think with the Xfinity cars and more power, maybe it's a little harder to hook up on that outside line, whereas with this package today, and that momentum that you see right there off of turn 2, that 18 car wanted that outside line. He was fine with it.
Trying to get to that right rear quarter panel. He's there. He is in the spot he wants to be in.
Man, I was surprised by the decision. Kyle knew exactly what he was doing. That is impressive.
Learned about it yesterday, guys, right?
That's right, Xfinity race he ran yesterday. And I still say, even if it didn't work early in this race, learn what you can and can't do.
Good run by the 22, Joey Logano. Look at the momentum there, and they spin off of turn 2 into the wall.
Daniel Suarez, Ricky Stenhouse Jr.
We're done. Front end damage, heavy front end damage.
Left front not even spinning for Ricky Stenhouse Jr. A couple cars involved. We saw the 99 and 47. Suarez smoke rolling out from the left side. Also involved Cody Ware in the 51.
Left front flat on the 51.
Left rear as well. Yeah, look how bad Suarez's car is working its way down pit road.
Oh, you saw Cody get loose right there. But that was such a chain reaction up the racetrack where the 47 is sent into the door of the 99. Suarez down the racetrack.
What a great job by, is that the 38 of Alfredo?
Yeah, Anthony Alfredo on the 38.
Look how fast it happens in real. Just saw the 47 got hit, then he got into the side of the 99. That's so frustrating. Lap 32 of a 260 lap race.
Daniel needs every race going forward as they get close to the playoffs to go well. This is exactly the opposite of that. I mean, this is going to hurt their chances of trying to claw their way back toward an opportunity to make the playoffs.
And Steve, it wasn't just the body damage. That thing was sliding sideways even when it was going down pit road. Chase Elliott back in his home state of Georgia, trying to become just the second Georgia driver to win at this racetrack like his father did. And actually, Chase took Dale Jr. back to Dawsonville to learn a little bit more about the journey of what this reigning champ has gone through to get to where he is.
Well, where are we at now?
Oddly enough, this is Elliott Road. This is his first cup race car.
This thing's probably got like 6 pounds of Bondo in it.
Welcome to the pool room.
Yeah.
So
check it out.
This is it.
Do you know that was his first job?
No, he did not say that. Is this top hobby?
Teaching my dad how to do it like last summer, how to surf. Are you ready, dude?
Yeah.
We'll get you drunk on.
Chase goes out there and runs a totally different line, runs faster than all of them. I don't say anything. I mean, what do you say?
And I said, Bill, then you keep directing him, and I will support you guys.
You could immediately see his driver craft was really high.
I remember being the first one to the car. I didn't even know what to say, just for him to have somebody to vent to.
From Dawsonville, Georgia, Chase Elliott is a NASCAR Cup Series champion. Chase debuts on Peacock in August. You'll want to make sure to tune into that. All right, Junior, what was the biggest surprise that you found when you went to Dawsonville?
Chase Elliott's first job. You'll have to watch to find out what that is, but I was pretty blown away by where he got his first job at. And but it was a lot of fun. I've always been interested in Chase and knowing more about him and what it is, what that place, what Dawsonville means to him. You know, we know Dawsonville is his father's hometown, and he made that famous Awesomeville from Dawsonville. Well, Chase has that same affinity for it and loves that place, loves living there, and loves being there. So I got to understand a lot about why he's so connected to it and remains there today.
That'll be great. We will look forward to that again, airing in August on Peacock. So it's the 18 of Kyle Busch on the inside. Denny Hamlin now has chosen that outside line. Joey Logano will be on the inside of row 2. Kyle Larson on the outside of row 2. Lights are off on the pace car, meaning this time by they'll see the green flag. And once again, field approaching the Geico restart zone. Restart not as strong for Denny Hamlin as we saw Kyle Busch use that outside line and really hold on to the spot.
Remember, Kurt Busch jumped on the outside of Matt DiBenedetto, and now look at him. He's stuck in the middle. Everybody going by him on both sides. Look on the bottom beside him, Martin Truex Jr. in that 19 car. He has clawed his way up almost to the top 10.
Denny was able to use that momentum, take second. Joey Logano back there in third. A lot of blocking going on by the 8 of Tyler Reddick.
Alex Bowman's going to dive to the bottom of the 2 car here. Brad Keselowski. See how that works for him coming off the turn here. I think that the 2 car is going to have the momentum down the back straightaway. He's going to get a push from Austin Dillon. Now Brad's going to go and use that momentum to the very top of the racetrack, get to the outside of Kyle Larson. Larson's going to have to lift out of the gas. The 2 car continuing that momentum down the front straightaway. He's going to get up here and push his teammate. Now what is he going to do? He's got to go somewhere else where they're not. Now he's lost that momentum that he got. Alex Bowman back to his inside, side drafting, trying to stay there. Having to get really aggressive with that side draft to make it work. Dave, what do you got on the 22 car?
So it hasn't been good for Joey Logano at Atlanta. Has not won here, and it's been 6 years since he's finished in the top 5. So talking to his crew chief, Paul Wolf, this morning, I said, how do you guys make it better? And he said, do what our teammate is doing. The 12 of Ryan Blaney won this race in March, and he said, we built the 22 car exactly like it. It's not the way Joey would normally like to run a race car, maybe a little bit freer than he's normally comfortable with, but they looked at each other and said, we've got to do something to get ourselves ready for the playoffs, and so far it seems to be working okay for Joey.
2 to 3 car lengths still separating the top 2. Kyle Busch and Denny Hamlin. Logano, after starting up there in that second row, Dave has fallen back to the 6th spot now. Kurt Busch is 3rd, Reddick 4th, Alex Bowman 5th. Right up against that wall, a little bit of cushion. Steve, fresh tires on all these cars. So are we going to see, with the competition caution coming out at lap 25, then this stage going all the way to lap 80, are we going to see how the tires wear and what kind of a fall off? We talked earlier, after 25 laps, it was around 2 to 3 seconds already of a fall off.
Yeah, it's going to be a big test for the tire wear on all of these cars. You have to have your car handling well, not just for speed, but for abuse of the tires. If your car is very tight, meaning the front tire slides across the racetrack, it's going to damage that right front tire. And this stage, with that competition yellow, almost just short enough you can't really pit. You can make it safely on fuel, so I just don't believe you're going to see anybody pit under green. Marty?
Steve, almost a three-way battle for the lead here as Kurt Busch gets by Denny Hamlin a moment ago. But right now, Denny's saying on the radio, car very tight. But the one thing he's still talking about, the time on the dash, that he does not have that. That's a little bit of a concern to Denny. Listen on the radio.
All right, so just to be clear, your dash is still frozen on lap time, is that right? Really hurts because when I move around, I can't see if I'm better or worse. Yeah, we've heard other reports of that as well. Lambert can feed you as much as you want.
Lambert being Chris Lambert, his spotter. So, Jeff, let's talk a little bit about that, because Denny was really asking, where has Kyle, meaning his teammate Kyle Busch, been so good? Where is he running? Denny trying to compare himself. But that lap time could be crucial to a place like Atlanta.
Yeah, it is. Every driver takes information differently. Denny obviously uses that dash a lot to look at timing and scoring to determine if he made a change in his driving style that was positive. Currently, he can gauge off those cars in front of him. Kurt Busch got by him. Kyle Busch is driving away from him, and we can hear how much Denny's out of the throttle. Denny's not happy with the way his car is handling right now.
Well, I think experience definitely helps on a track like this when you talk about not just adjustments, but what you have to do with your race car, and a driver with a ton of experience. The one of Kurt Busch, the 42-year-old out of Las Vegas, Nevada. Shocking, as I did my homework, 740 starts in the Cup Series. I know I knew that, but to read it, Rick, I mean, that is a gigantic number. Three-time winner here. And you look, doing a nice job, right? Back in Charlotte, he was all the way back in 19th, and he has made a great push to try to find his way into the playoffs. Now currently 25 points above. Now, that's not comfortable by any means. He's the last guy in, but that's a whole lot better than 19th being 3 guys out.
Yeah, a lot of momentum, looking very strong now at this time of the season. Let's listen into his radio.
Ready to stop short and angled out. I got to try to carve her on that 9 the best I can. And we need to be stopping short. We need to prep for that all day. Yes, sir. 10-4 in the 9. He'll be behind us now. 10-4, that'll help quite a bit. Thank you.
It's great information as far as what he needs to do to position himself on pit road to be able to get in and out of the box.
Learning with every lap and every stop on pit road. Kyle Busch out front here in Atlanta. In the 90s, the season used to end here in Atlanta. You saw drivers like Alan Kowicki and Dale Earnhardt, champions, Jeff Gordon. How about Texas Terry Labonte? A couple Hendrick drivers claiming the top prize. DJ also winning here at Atlanta, claiming that championship. So much history from this racetrack as we continue on with the Quaker State 400 from here at Atlanta Motor Speedway. You can go inside the headset with access to NASCAR scanner for only $2.99 per month. You can listen in on the pit strategy, the spotters communication, crew chief calls, everything. Visit NASCAR.com/scanners to start your subscription today. Kyle Busch out front. His brother is closing the gap. The older brother, Kurt Busch, about a half a second back now. Those two painting that green line on the bottom of the track here. Get a few updates. We'll start with Dylan.
Well, guys, we're talking about Hendrick Motorsports and that 48 car right there, Alex Bowman, the best of the bunch right now as he runs in the 4th spot. You know, he's got wins in his career at the 2-mile Fontana configuration and at the 1.5 mile in Chicago, 2 places that we no longer race at. So Greg Ives, his crew chief this morning, kind of said tongue-in-cheek that Alex is the track killer, with this being the final race here at Atlanta before the reconfiguration. But they want to win here too before it is reconfigured, for the simple fact that this is a driver's track. The driver can make things happen if the crew chief is on his game and gives him the car to do it. They're pretty happy right now moving through the field, telling them that run that Harvick line down there on the bottom. Don't burn the tires off running the top side, Marty.
Dylan, if there is a story 53 laps into this race, it's that Hendrick Motorsports has not been maybe as strong as everybody predicted, although Bowman running pretty well. Kyle Larson struggling though. Right now Larson sitting in the 8th position, said the car is, quote, draggy at the start of the race, at the start of a run. Also way too tight in the short run for Kyle Larson, who dominated here in March. Everybody expected him to be the guy up front today, Dave, and right now he's not.
Marty, the Hendrick car that started on the pole today, that was Chase Elliott in the 9, getting a challenge here from Bubba Wallace in the 23. Remember what happened to Chase when he was coming down pit road? Had an issue with his brakes, was surprised they locked up as he was turning into his pit stall. He had to back the car up and lost all kinds of spots. Restarted in the 25th position, has made up 6 spots since then. But it's going to be a slow pace back to the front for Chase Elliott. Guys, you know, you don't just go and pass cars here at will.
It's difficult, chore. And Dylan, you mentioned Alex Bowman and running that lower line. Let's listen into his radio.
Bill's just a little tighter than I want to be. I'm going to try to save it here for the long run. Get out the back here. Just do the old Harvick line hook. Help you out as much as you can. Nothing coming right now.
There it is, the Harvick line.
And what he means by that is he's staying lower on corner exit, staying connected to that apron, using that paint as a little added grip. And that does do less damage long term to the tire. The tire's going to wear out, it's going to fall off, but that line, you're a little bit out of the gas. You're not really laterally loading the tire just quite as much as you just sort of roll around the bottom here. And those guys running the top are sending their cars into the corner a lot harder. You're really leaning on those right tires, sliding them across the racetrack. It's faster, but it's going to eat the tire up on the long run. It's going to hurt you on the back end.
Let's go back and check out Martin Truex Jr. The Toyota driver update. He is in 10th place. Had to start all the way back in the pack. And he's worked himself up. Doesn't right now have race winning speed, but they're pretty close, not very far off. This is a little bit of a gain from where they've been recently, Marty.
Yeah, and I think if you're James Small, you feel pretty good about this gain from 37th to 10th. But Truex has been saying the entire time it feels like it's floating the nose really bad when I'm in traffic, and I just need more front grip overall. So, Steve, if it's floating the nose when you're in traffic, what are you going to do to adjust on it if you're James Small at the next stop?
Well, it's hard. A lot of those adjustments have to be done. You talk about shock absorbers and controlling the front. The easiest one, how hot's that engine running? Because if you're floating the nose and I can add a little bit of tape, that's some front downforce, that would help in and out of traffic. So, but, you know, something that you would definitely could adjust on a pit stop. But that's the challenges of Atlanta. You know, you can't just lock these cars down in a great aero position because the track's so rough, you end up skipping the tires over the bumps.
Truex Jr. up into the top 10 now. Boone Byron in front of him in 9th, but it's Kyle Busch and Kurt Busch that are now negotiating through lap traffic.
Yeah, there's a few cars that are going to pass down the back straightaway here, and then it's about a half a straightaway to the next car. But this is the opportunity where the guy in second has a chance. That leader's no longer in clean air when he's in this traffic. That's his opportunity to try to find that leader in a compromised situation and make a pass. We saw that change the complexity of the race earlier this year when Kyle Larson got in traffic late and it allowed Ryan Blaney to get around him for the win.
Dave.
Busch Brothers show right now, isn't it, Rick? Younger brother Kyle leading older brother Kurt in the one car. For Kyle's sake, remember, if we take a quick look at Kurt right here, 3-time winner at Atlanta and 30 starts here. The experience that he has is almost second to none. He's still 5th on the all-time on the active drivers win list here. So Kurt has made his way to second place. Meanwhile, Kyle up front, just think of all the experience he got yesterday, and we've already seen him trying both lines on the restarts here. Had a chance to try the low one earlier, the high one after that. The low is typically better here, but now Kyle has seen it yesterday, and he's seen it in both views today, getting more knowledge as he tries to stay ahead of the field here, because there will be more restarts today. We can expect it.
A little further back in the pack, Ryan Blaney won this race in the spring in 14th place right now, started 15th. You know, this track, Steve, I would imagine that the difference in the track tip between the spring race and this race is large, and teams had to make some decisions. How much to change the cars from the first race to this race, and right now we're seeing, you know, Larson not running as well, and also this car, 12 car, Ryan Blaney not running as well. Dylan.
And Jeff, they felt like they were making gains on the race car and their mile-and-a-half program since that win here just a few months ago, but and felt like this would be a good benchmark for them just to know where they're at as we get closer to the playoffs. But today they are not happy. Ryan was too free on the first run before the competition caution, so they adjusted for it, went way too far the other direction. Super tight now. Ryan came on the radio, said a little bit ago that feels like we're going to cord the right front if it keeps up this way. So biggest adjustment that they're going to have to make is taking the one out that they just put in the race car the last time down pit road. So struggling right now, but long way to go still here as we got 17 to go in stage 1, but definitely more to be desired for the 12 car as they run just inside the top 15 now.
And you're absolutely right, Jeff. You talk about a track that really depends on mechanical grip. That track temperature from March to now, a big change. The setups are going to have to manage it. And I get a little nervous as you see right there working the wheel. He talks about cording the right front. 29 laps under green right here, 16 to go in the stage. Rick, these drivers have to manage their tires to finish this stage.
Definitely sawing at the wheel. NASCAR Cup Series racing from Atlanta. Telecast presented by Brestree. Just under 2 weeks to the Olympics. They begin July 23rd, live from Tokyo. That's on NBC. Great competition there. Great competition here. Right now, Kyle Busch out front by a second.
We saw Kevin Harvick earlier in the race. We talked about he was running way further back than we anticipated. Well, things have changed. Kevin Harvick, we heard from Marty from pit road that Kevin was going to be committed to the bottom of the racetrack no matter what. Well, guess what? He is. Right on the bottom of the racetrack, and over the last several laps, he's had the fastest car on the racetrack by about 0.2 of a second. So Kevin Harvick, Marty, has got it rolling on the bottom.
I mean, Jeff, for 15 straight laps, he has been one of the five fastest cars on the racetrack. And is this, my question to you, Jeff, is this where that pays off for Kevin Harvick? The very end of the run, as we're coming 9 laps to go here in the stage, as Ryan Newman hits here before the stage ends. Is this where that pays off for Harvick? Saving those tires this entire run here at the end, he's one of the fastest cars.
We mentioned saving tires, 9 to go in the stage. Ryan Newman on pit road. No way this is a scheduled stop, Rick. This is basically tire issues. Look at the right front tire. You can see it as it rolls right there. The fabric coming out of the side of the tire basically wore through the rubber. That's the underlayer in the tire coming out. He was running 17th, so 8 to go. I'm not even a crew chief. I just got nervous, Jeff. 8 laps. I mean, how can his tire be worse than mine? And look at that right there. That is
this is
Atlanta.
completely unwound here, and you can see Rob Lopes, a longtime tire guy for this team, checking it out. Man, that is completely unwound there, Steve, for Ryan Newman.
Unwound is basically, Rick, when the wear gets very high, it finally goes down and catches that fabric, and it unwinds like a ball of yarn. Let's listen into the one of Kurt Busch and his tire thoughts.
Yeah, I just did something to the tires. What lap are we on tires? Wow. This will be 32, but it did have a heat cycle on them. I just got to simmer down here and see what the car will give us.
We talked about experience. I like that right there, Jeff. I gotta simmer down. I'm going a little too hard. He drove up to within a second of the leader. He's running second. I don't care if you slow down a second a lap. Just get me 7 more laps. I don't want to pit under green.
Yeah, that's, we're hearing these drivers talking about being hard on the right front. It won't turn. That's a recipe for a disaster on the right front tire. You're asking so much of it at this racetrack, and handling matters, right? We talk about saving tires, the driver saving tires. Well, guess what? The best setup saves tires. I mean, that's really what helps. The driver doesn't have to push the car as hard to make good lap time. That's easier on tire wear, keeps tire temperature down.
Yeah, so we mentioned different cars. Well, after that competition yellow during break, we asked the pit reporters, and Dave, I asked you which tires had issues. You said the inside of the 9's right front had a little bit of fabric, and all day on the radio he's talking about not being able to get the car off the right front like it's tight. This has got to be concerning for the 9.
It's exactly right, Steve. Hadn't said anything on the radio like, I'm coming, I can feel it coming apart. They did make a big adjustment. They took a spring rubber out of the right rear to try to compensate for that so he wouldn't abuse it as much. But he does say again during this run, I feel like I've killed it. So we'll take another look at that right front. But yeah, some damage when they pulled the first set off.
So Dale Jr. running 20th. That's not where Chase Elliott wants to be, but surely, he's using that experience, not sliding the right front, knowing that he has to get his car back to Alan Gustafson, make adjustments, and get the car turning better. There's only so much he can do. He can't burn the right front off it.
Well, you see he's backed off there and allowed Bubba Wallace to go back by him, so he's backed his pace down enough to hopefully save the tire to get to the end of the stage.
Not backing down is the 19 of Martin Truex Jr. He goes by Keselowski. Truex Jr. in the 9th spot now. Again, started this race at the back of the field after failing technical inspection before the race twice.
It's funny when I look out the window, Rick, there is a distinct difference in pace. There are some cars out there that want nothing to do with the last 4 laps. They are nursing these cars to the finish.
As a driver, you're terrified. I mean, this is the time in this run where you're terrified you're going to blow right front, but with only 3 to go, unless you know you got a problem like Ryan Newman, you have to just ride it out.
Under 3 to go in stage 1. Steve, you told us this at the top of the show. They weren't going to be able to make a whole fuel run. These tires potentially would be wearing out.
And it's a battle. You heard Jeff just say that the fear. Well, Kyle Busch is out there trying to lap as many as he can. Right in front of him, the 10 of Eric Almirola. You see him he's 2 cars in front of that red car of the 18 of Kyle Busch. The anchor has come out on the 10, and I feel bad for Eric, right? He's either fighting a little bit of ill-handling carb, him and Corey LaJoy right here trying to stay in the lead lap, trying to get those tires to the finish. I mean, this is 50 laps on these tires. I mean, look at this. That's 171 miles an hour on a set of tires. You know, you're not sure how much tire is left. I mean, it's obvious, Jeff. Like, when you look out the window, just, I don't want to pick on these drivers. They are working so hard, but they are parking the core in the middle of the corner.
Yeah, just trying to get through this stage. Don't have a problem so your day is over.
Well, now you have the final lap. So these cars right here, they have to run basically 2 because it's the final lap for Kyle Busch. But if they can just beat Kyle Busch back to the line, they run 1 more lap, or at least until the yellow comes out. And they've made it to the end of this stage on the lead lap.
And go really slow.
I'm telling you.
Kyle Busch is going to win his 4th stage right here. Only had 3 all of 2020. Brother Kurt Busch finishing in 2nd. And then you talked about the pace being off quite a bit with the guys behind him. There's Denny Hamlin going by Alex Bowman and Tyler Reddick. The top 5 of stage 1. Larson Logano, William Byron, Martin Truex Jr., and Kevin Harvick. They round out the top 10, all gaining points at the end of the stage. Racing in Atlanta on a 24-year-old surface. It's tearing the tires up. NASCAR on NBCSN is brought to you by Breztree. For more information, visit Breztree.com. Credit One Bank, the official credit card of NASCAR. Visit GoCreditOne.com. And by Toyota.
Well, the big news this week heading into Atlanta Motor Speedway was the resurface of Atlanta Motor Speedway, which turned into a little bit of a reconfiguration. Track hadn't been repaved since '97. We all knew the repave was coming. Well, Atlanta Motor Speedway says, you know what? Since we're going to do all that work, we're going to increase the banking a little bit. We think that'd be better for racing here, make some tweaks to the banking and the width of the track. Big newsmaker, and not all the stars loved it. Kyle Busch, Denny Hamlin, 2 drivers that were pretty outspoken about they don't love the idea. I'm going to respect their opinions as drivers, but at the same time, I'm going to be very open-minded. The Roval wasn't really loved early by testing, and it puts on great races, right? So I love the fact that our stars can speak their mind, but I'm even more excited about the Smith family who owns Atlanta Motor Speedway's commitment to NASCAR. To spend that much money on this facility, Jeff, to make sure racing stays here in the future is great for NASCAR and great for the city of Atlanta.
Yeah, we're fortunate to have a company that wants to reinvest and rebuild this racetrack and reinvent it. A lot of concern about the width of the corners. Well, that's the same width as Daytona, the same width as Charlotte. So I don't know why there's a concern about that being too narrow.
Marty.
Rick, still too tight for Denny Hamlin, who hits pit road running third. He said, if I was patient with it on entry, that would help. But he said, that just makes me feel like I'm way too slow. The other interesting thing, minus 30 on the temperature. So you're going to see that carrier come around. He's going to slap a piece of tape on the front of the 11 car. That'll help with downforce as well, Dave.
Kurt Busch made his Goodyear tires last. He needs to be freed up just a little bit on this one. 3 pit stalls ahead, younger brother Kyle. His car was very close. He said just a slight right rear slide. And as the crews go to work, we'll see who puts on the 4 Goodyear tires, puts in the Sunoco fuel, and gets them off pit road first. Looks like it's going to be Big Brother this time.
Great job by the 1 team getting Kurt out there in front. That means Kyle Busch loses a spot. Hamlin, Bowman, Reddick all holding position. Logano, Byron grabbing a couple spots as well.
We saw Chase Elliott had trouble in that first pits. Well, guess what? Had trouble again. Had to go around Cole Custer. Look at the contact he made with the tire man. Hope everybody's okay.
Pit road is definitely a dangerous place, Steve.
Yeah, John Rosselli, front tire changer of the 41. When we watch this replay, watch the contact to the tire there, and then bam, hits the tire changer right in the upper back. Man, it is very, very dangerous. Great to see John up and around in the pit box. I mean, look, tire hits him, right back to hitting lug nuts. Talk about coaching and focus. That is unbelievable. But there's a little bit to the story, though. Man, Dave, it's great to see John up and around.
It is, and you saw his head go toward that race car. Remember, some of us have been around long enough when they did not wear helmets on pit road, so I don't know if he actually made contact with it, but that was one of the safety features that NASCAR implemented for everyone that goes over the wall. And for John Rosselli, it was a good thing, and hopefully he'll not be too sore tomorrow.
So pit selection is always a topic of conversation. The 9 was actually the pole sitter, got to choose first, but they chose that pit stall that they're having trouble with going around the 41. They didn't take pit stall 1. I asked Alan Gustafson, hey, why? Everybody takes pit stall 1. He goes, man, tire spin is a big issue here. I didn't think I could get out of that box. I wanted to be in the other one. He probably felt like he could have a better chance of getting in and out. He also mentioned how you always have a fast car in pit stall 2, which the 22 did take. We saw Kyle Busch lose the lead. This whole pit selection, we'll keep an eye on it all day long.
Kurt Busch, the control car on the inside in the number 1. Kyle Busch on the outside in the 18. Saw the 4 of Kevin Harvick come to pit road just before this restart.
It was running 10th. There was a lot going on with that crew member, but we'll have to follow up on the 4 as we get going.
Hey, Steve, real quick, they had some contact on pit road. Just wanted to clear that right front fender. All good for Kevin Harvick.
Pit road's a busy place.
So is the backstretch. 3 wide as they go into 3.
Lots of pushing and shoving there.
All teammates. You got the Gibbs boys working together, the Penske boys working together, the HMS Hendrick boys. That top is just so dominant on these restarts. Hard for those guys on that bottom groove to make any headway.
And how many crew chiefs right now are looking at the radar? Because it's starting to look a little bit more ominous to the south, and that's moving this direction.
Ryan Blaney to the inside of Joey Logano to the inside here into turn 3. Larson thinks about 3 wide. Not enough grip for him to take the 5 car to the middle. Here comes Bubba Wallace to the inside down the front straightaway. He has a run. It's going to be difficult to complete that pass.
If you're Larson in the middle of 3 wide is never a comfortable situation.
Larson's car just does not look good today. Seems sliding around, having to lift out of that situation. Bubba Wallace makes it work.
Tyler Reddick to the inside. Reddick trying to take second away from Kyle Busch.
I'd have told you on lap 90 where Larson is running, where Blaney's running, and said Kurt Busch and Tyler Reddick will be first, second. That would be considered an upset. These 2 guys are having really good days.
Kurt Busch, the question mark will be out there because of the sale of Chip Ganassi Racing. Where will Kurt Busch end up in 2022? Marty.
Boy, Tyler Reddick went to the bottom there and got a little free. Kyle Busch is going to try and take advantage here and get the second position. But give a tip of the cap to Reddick and also Randall Burnett as crew chief. They came here in the spring, felt like they could run top 5, top 10 all day long, and they hit the wall almost immediately. In lap 4, they hit the wall, and they limped around the rest of the day. But today, showing the speed that they have in this 8 car and the improved performance, Tyler Reddick loves this racetrack, showing up right here, right now, staying in front of Kyle Busch in the second spot.
He'll be hard to get around because he knows how to run that top as good as anybody else in the field. Battle right here between Bowman, Denny Hamlin down into turn 1. Bowman working that bottom really, really well. Tons of grip in the front of that car today. Able to make that pass. Denny back to the inside, though, down the back straightaway. Just not enough momentum off the top. I really like the way that 48 car is hooking the bottom, keeping that left front next to the apron, while the rest of the Hendrick cars are struggling just a bit to find that speed. He's got it today.
And that's a relative term when you say the Hendrick cars are struggling, because right now you've got William Byron running 7th, Kyle Larson running 8th. Guys that normally we would see up in the top 5, but once again, they have had so much success over the past few weeks. Dylan.
And guys, another guy who's having a strong run so far here in the early goings of stage 2 is the 23 car, Bubba Wallace. You see him at the bottom of your screen there under fire from Joey Logano. But this is another group that felt like they were better than they finished up in the spring. Felt like they had a car capable of running in the 10th to 12th place positions, which is where they run right now. So talking with Bubba this morning, this is a new team, baby steps every weekend. But he said, feels like for them it's hard to get in a rhythm because once they finally get rolling, they go to a road course and takes a step backwards. So that was the case for them last week. Felt like they put a couple of good weeks together and then struggled last week at Road Americas. Hoping today, and Loudon goes well next week, but then they've got a couple of weeks off to regroup and try to go after it for 2 more road course races. But nice to see them having a good top 10 run here in the early going. Bubba's pretty happy with the race car. It was a little too tight, but made some adjustments, and he's holding strong right now in 10th.
And we heard from team owners, Denny Hamlin, Michael Jordan, they wanted to see improvement. That's what they were looking for in the 23 this year. Improvement from week to week to week. And I think we're starting to see that now, a little bit past the halfway point of the season.
Bubba Wallace and Michael Jordan were like, we're going to win. and old Carl and Denny's like, wait a minute, let's just make realistic expectations and just get better every week. He tried to temper that a little bit. He saw it coming, knew how hard it would be. Dylan, what do you have?
Well, just quickly on the 48, Jeff. So he's got a pretty solid vibration right now. So they're looking back at the pit stop to see if it's a lug nut related issue or something else. But what a derailment that would be. He's clearly been the best Hendrick car so far today. Challenging for the race lead here in just a moment as he tries to track down Kurt Busch, but maybe a potential problem behind the wheel of that 48 car.
Yeah, the vibration doesn't seem to be hurting the pace of the car. As long as it doesn't get worse, I don't think it's going to have a problem here for this 48 team.
Right now, Alex Bowman up to the 2nd spot. Kurt Busch still leading here in Atlanta. The 149th Open Championship. The best golfers in the world will battle on the rugged shores of the North Sea at Royal St. George's Golf Club in England. The Open Championship, that's next Thursday to Sunday on NBC and Golf. From high above Atlanta Motor Speedway, our aerial coverage brought to you by Geico as we see the 8 of Tyler Reddick trying to get by that 18. And now Kyle Busch surging to the inside, and he will get in front of the 8. We'll see how the momentum works here. Kurt Busch out front, Alex Bowman running second. This fight for third continues, though. Kyle Busch has the spot. Reddick ran right up on his bumper, but didn't try to move around him.
Kyle was overtaking Reddick there, and I think Reddick just said, okay, you're faster. I'm not going to try to cross you over. We talked about Kevin Harvick having to come back down pit road, making contact. Well, here it is. You see 3 wide, leaving his pit box. Actually got into Martin Truex Jr. Martin Truex Jr. also had to come on pit road to fix his car. So they just had to make sure, Steve, that this right front was not going to rub that tire, cause a problem.
Yeah, it's so difficult, right? You just don't know where the dent is. A lot of travel, a lot of bumps here, a lot of opportunity for the car to have an issue if you do have damage.
I think the favorite coming into today's race, Kyle Larson, was struggling just a little bit from the drop of the green flag, but it seems like they've worked on this car and improved it the last few times they come down pit road as he goes to the inside of Denny Hamlin down the back straightaway. This is for 5th position. Two good buddies. Go ahead.
I think this is the Kyle Larson we expected to see today. Here, the car much better on this run. He said the entire first couple of runs, said just the fronts were not working. It would not work for anything at the beginning of the run. He used that word, quote, draggy, but it's been much better on this run. In fact, he radioed in almost immediately to Cliff Daniels and said, I can tell the fronts are working now. We're in a much better position. It's showing with lap time. It's showing also on the pylon up to 5th, Dave.
Joey Logano on pit road right now, and guys, I am not entirely sure why. We will check the tires that are coming off of this 22. No urgent report from them last time he was down pit road, but remember Joey working with a setup he hasn't run here before to try to get better at these low horsepower and high drag racetrack configurations. They're going to make big chassis adjustments as well. Looks like they're swinging for the fences to make sure their driver can find what he needs in the future.
Seems very early to me. We haven't heard anything about a vibration. I mean, you can try to pit twice in this segment, but the segment only being 80 laps long, I just don't see the math working. I think it's a simple one-stop stage in about 13 or 14 more laps. This is really, really early. You'd have to go, oh man, you'd have to go a long way. It's 53 laps on this set of tires to get to the end, so I can't believe this is a planned stop, but we'll have to get a report and see.
Paul Wolf may be playing a little cards here. Didn't you say earlier that if a driver comes to pit road, he normally pulls the whole field with him?
Yeah.
Even though this is early?
I think this is so early, and when I say bring the field with him, it's like the next lap, and the fact that nobody else is coming off from the racetrack onto pit road tells me that they also believe that the 22 had some sort of issue. If they thought this was a strategy, they would have all came on pit road, I believe.
Hey guys, left rear on Joey Logano's car was vibrating, and just heard from Travis Geisler, the competition director, that it was a left rear that was the issue that brought Joey to pit road.
Yeah, so there you go.
Here's the gap getting closed now. Kyle Busch is caught up to the 48 of Alex Bowman. .24 laps on these tires already in this run.
You work and work and work trying to get to this guy, trying to figure out how to create the momentum. You see the 18 and Kyle Busch using the top to do that. Down the back straightaway, he's going to have the run to the inside. Now he's got to be patient to make that bottom and hook that car down around the bottom. He's got a lap car here. It's going to make him go up the track. He's going to have to lift a little bit. 48 is struggling now in the wake of that 18 car off the corner.
I think, remember Alex Bowman, at the end of that first long run, he complained about being really tight. I wonder if that's not starting to happen to him right now.
Kurt Busch out front as we go NASCAR nonstop. you can get gear for race day. Check out the greatest selection of t-shirts and hats and die casts and more, all for your favorite drivers. Visit NASCAR.com/shop for all of your gear today. You're watching NASCAR Cup Series Racing from Atlanta. This telecast presented by Brez Tree. So right now, a lot of crew chiefs and teams are looking at the radar as we're taking a glimpse at it as well. Atlanta Motor Speedway, the dot right in the middle. One of the things that makes an official race is if you get to the halfway point, which we're closing in on that, Steve. Yeah,
basically the rule is it's either the end of stage 2 or halfway, whichever is sooner. In this case, the way this race lays out, it would be lap 130, currently at lap 117, so 13 laps away. The interesting thing about this situation is, you know, green flag pit stops should be upon us in about maybe 7 or 8 laps. Will someone decide to stay out on the racetrack hoping to get a lucky rain shower, or will they stick with their plan and pit under green, Dave?
So, Steve, crew chief Matt McCall and Kurt Busch agree with you. That's their plan to come pit.
We're not going to pit too soon here, just so you're aware.
But not too soon. That's right. Don't want to take that away from them. But last time, a little bit of cording on the front tires. So Kurt has been managing the car a little bit more. He also said, I'm managing the car because we're not chasing Kyle like we were last time. And Steve, I got to tell you, a few sprinkles down here on pit road right now.
So when I look at the radar, I don't see race-ending rain, although, of course, anything can build, but definitely maybe a yellow. And the point is, you're going to lose a lap here if you pit under green, even as the leader. So you don't want to come under green. Right, drivers, as much as you want new tires, the last thing you want to do is roll off pit road and see the caution. You know you're behind.
We got William Byron coming on the pit road right here. I think that's a scheduled stop, as well as Matt DiBenedetto.
Oh, it's decision time, right? Do you think it's going to rain or not?
Dylan.
24 William Byron is in, kicking off green flag pit stops here. He reported that he was just a little bit too tight chassis-wise on that run. He was tight last time. Crew Chief Rudy Fugle opted to make just some air pressure adjustments. I think they're going to take a bigger swing at it this time down. Marty.
Yeah, Jonathan Hassler making the call to bring Matt DiBenedetto down. They've had a terrific run, been in the top 10 for much of the day. Matty D has been very happy, and I can hear on the radio the floodgates are about to open. You see Denny Hamlin coming down pit road. And Steve, I agree with you. I'm surprised that more teams are not deciding to stay out here because it is starting to rain a little bit more here on pit road. But Denny Hamlin coming down still too tight. That's the biggest problem, Denny Hamlin, especially in 3 and 4. That's where he's losing his speed. But you're going to see a whole host of teams coming down pit road here in a bit, Dylan.
And here comes Ryan Blaney in as well. Made themselves arrow tight that last run. Chunked and corded to right front. They're much happier with the balance this time. Ryan moving around on the racetrack, self-diagnosing and medicating that race car. 4 tires and fuel for Blaney.
Gamble, Rick, you know, you could say let's wait for the rain, but the gamble is we see Kyle Larson on pit road, Marty, you know, 2 seconds slower on old tires.
Yeah, Kyle Larson on pit road again. Said the car worked much better that run. Drove into the top 5. Alex Bowman also on pit road.
And here is Bowman into the pit. So he was reporting that vibration earlier in the run. Felt okay about it later. All the lugs were tight. He's reporting this run. He's tighter in the center of the corner. And so they made an adjustment there with the track bar and air pressure to help him get that car turning a little bit better.
Kurt Busch couldn't stand it any longer. The team brings him to pit road now. The driver of the 1 car. See if he hits his marks perfectly. Yes, a little damp maybe on pit road, but just scattered sprinkles right now. Didn't really need too many changes in the car, although a little bit free as he entered the corner. So slight air pressure adjustment to keep up with that. 4 Goodyear tires and a Phillips Sunoco fuel. He's out of here.
Christopher Bell, last time by, was scored as race leader. Martin Truex Jr. out there as well. There you see 42. Ross Chastain on pit road.
Having a decent day as well. His teammate Kurt Busch leading most of this event here so far today. And he'll get his 4 tires and leave too, Marty.
Martin Truex Jr. on pit road. So we talked about them coming down to fix that damage earlier, Dave. When they came down to fix the damage, they put on a new set of Goodyear tires. So they were able to go just a little bit further than everybody else here. And speaking of the rain, it has let up a little bit here. So we might get through this entire green flag cycle with everyone coming and the rain not coming. That would be good for everybody on the track.
41 of Cole Custer still out on the track. He is now the current leader. There's still 38 laps to go in this stage. We're riding along with Austin Dillon, looking up there at Brad Keselowski. Austin Dillon running in the 14th position, just behind Keselowski. Almirola now the race leader, with Ryan Preece running second. Kurt Busch has been to pit road, as has Kyle Busch. Those two running third and fourth right now. And Kurt Busch and Kyle Busch both have led more laps today than they have led all season.
One of Kurt Busch you see in the third position, waiting for the last two to make their pit stops.
We mentioned Kurt Busch will be leading once everyone has cycled through their pit stops. Xfinity fastest lap going to the driver of the one, Kurt Busch. Last lap 168.866 miles per hour compared to Almirola's last lap at 161.035. That's how much difference fresh tires can play into what Kurt Busch is able to do versus Almirola right now.
It's raining quite a bit for one.
Almirola is telling him it's raining a lot.
Kurt Busch and his team, they did a nice job. They had a 2-second lead, pitted a lap after his brother did, but kept that 2-second lead. Nice work by him getting on pit road, and the team also.
Rain's picking up. Stay with it here. Let him by.
There's that strategy play. Stay out as long as you can because they think the rain is going to come.
Yeah, I mean, it's pouring if you're the 10 car. There's debris everywhere.
I've never seen
oil all over the track.
Remember, Almirola right now 27th in the point standings. He's 154 points back. Really, he's in a must-win situation if he wants to make the playoffs.
Back around second place. The 48 car has worked his way around Kyle Busch. Kyle's car is struggling just a bit. We've seen it all race long. That 48 car fire off on those new tires. Working that bottom really, really well. Here he goes to the top of the racetrack. Lap cars in front of him, trying to get that clean air.
Junior, we've seen Alex Bowman get slower at the end of long runs. Maybe don't run quite as hard early in this run. You know,
though,
like
man.
just bring it back a little bit.
Yeah.
It's raining a lot. It will run.
Almirola still wanting a caution for rain. Staying out there on those older tires. Here comes Ryan Preece in the 37.
I think NASCAR is going to need a few more drivers to join that wagon.
Well, he's not going to get Corey LaJoie. He's trying to unlap himself, right, Junior? There's no rain for the 7.
Yeah.
Track is perfect.
LaJoie, a little wiggle there as he goes around the outside of Almirola, and the gap closing again. Here comes Eric Jones in the 43. So this strategy only works if it really starts raining hard enough where they have to throw the caution.
Yeah, because unfortunately you can see just how much slower the 10 is leading the race than the 43, the 7. The cars that have fresh tires easily can dispose of the 10 and drive off.
You're this far into this gamble, though, right? You may as well see it through. Unless the radar clears up, then you just got to pit.
Yeah, he's almost, once he gets caught by Kurt Busch, which he's 2 seconds away from that happening, that strategy goes out the window.
Well, yeah, I mean, right now he would like to see an absolute downpour that never lets up. The race just became
Halfway
official.
that time. Still 6 back, 41 running up top.
There you go, halfway that time. I mean, this is a car that arguably doesn't think they can make the playoffs on points. I mean, you know, why not? I mean, they're sitting at the roulette table, Junior, right? And they're trying to find a way to get somewhat even with the house. The only thing they know is to put all their chips in and hope the thing goes his way. It's unfortunate because I just don't know if the radar looks bad enough, but I like the gamble.
Here comes Ryan Preece. He takes the lead away from Almirola, but look at the one. Those fresher tires, so strong as he goes through the middle, and Kurt Busch about to take the lead back here at Atlanta. And so it is, Kurt Busch out front. He has the fresher tires now. The 37 and the 10, really no reason to stay out on the racetrack. Kurt Busch back out in front, already has led 38 laps here at Atlanta. We go NASCAR nonstop. coming up on just 23 laps to go in stage 2 from Atlanta. You're watching the Quaker State 400. And Rutledge, I know that it might have been raining a little bit in turn 1, but I think you're over in turn 4. Probably clear skies up there, right?
Oh, Rick, I'm up on the high side. It's beautiful up here. We got a few light sprinkles. Everybody looking majestic up here. We're at the very top, hanging with the Coffee family. This is a racing family. They live here full time. Their son Alex used to race Bandoleros against Chase Elliott, used to race Legends with William Byron, Austin Cindric. So, Mr. Coffee, I got to know, what's it like to live here year-round? These places are beautiful.
It's awesome. We downsized about 4 years ago, and it's probably one of the best things we ever did. We have a real tight-knit community here, and everybody has a lot of fun.
And now, Miss Coffee, you're like the racing mama. Everybody knows you around here. Is it as much fun to live here as I would think? Because it's everything you could ever want.
We love it here. It's awesome living here. If you're a race fan, it's wonderful. Even if you're not a race fan, it's wonderful.
And guys, you can't beat the view. It's incredible up here. They've been picking some favorites, obviously. Chase Elliott's hoping to get to victory lane for these two guys.
And right now, Chase Elliott running in the 12th position. As we showed, he was going to be one of the favorites for today's race. There he is running right up against the fence.
Jumped out of the gas a little bit there.
Yeah, that high side works when you can stay in the gas. And sometimes, especially off of turn 4, that wall wraps around really quick, and you have to lift there. It kind of takes away all that advantage you're trying to create.
He's been making it work. He just got by Matt DiBenedetto. Now he's running down Bubba Wallace. He's been making this high line much better pace than when he's on the bottom.
All right, drivers, how uneasy are you? We're seeing a little bit of drops on our camera, which is on the top of the car, but you as a driver are going to see those drops on the windshield. How uneasy does that make you to feel like there's still traction in this racetrack?
It doesn't bother me in a place like this. The place is so porous and so rough that even when it's damp, there's a lot of grip out there. And I mean, it's a slick track, but it doesn't get worse when it gets a little damp, a little bit of a drizzle like this. I think they can race through it. It's going to take a lot of water to really get this thing to where you lose the racetrack, is the term they like to say. But right now, they're, the car's going around the track's creating a little bit of heat, and the tires got the heat. They're keeping that groove dry, keeping it warm. They're running all over the place. So as long as the cars are moving around there and the rain doesn't pick up anymore, I think they'll be okay.
Junior, you mentioned it to me during break. The 10 of Eric Almirola finally did pit. He came out, he's 1 lap down and about a quarter lap behind the leader on those fresh tires, trying to get his lap back.
They're riding along with Chase Elliott. Listen to how much longer he's out of the gas on the bottom in 3 and 4 versus what he was able to do on the top in 1 and 2. Had to get into 3 and 4 and just tons of discipline. Hit your mark, be perfect on speed. Now up here, he just kind of hustle the car, Dave, get whatever he can.
And the car is a little bit better. You see him changing lines, and Bubba doing the same thing, trying to fight back. They made a suspension change on the left front, took a little extra time a couple of pit stops ago, and that seems to have helped. Alan Gustafson thought it would, and Chase is now driving back toward the front. We'll see how far the pole sitter can get.
A-Shock joining the 19. See the different paint scheme there for Chase Elliott here in Georgia.
Good looking car, Rick. I like the paint scheme.
I love listening to the throttle as he's trying to work that top in and out of the gas. Dave, what you got on the 1 car?
So you guys know it takes everything to win these races and put your car out front. The pit crew today for Kurt Busch has been outstanding. This was the green flag stop that they just made. And you can see the artistry here and the choreography that they had. It was a very smooth stop. And even though he wasn't the first one to pit, he did get back to the lead there. That's a kudos. Also, remember under that 1 caution, they came down pit road not in the lead and left in the lead. 2 of their fastest 7 pit stops all season have come today at Atlanta.
Yeah, it's incredible what these guys are able to do when they go over the wall in 13 seconds, changing tires, adding fuel, making adjustments.
Real athletes, amazing the work they do. Guys, I know this is a little early to have this conversation because we know how races go, but if Kurt Busch wins this race, clearly that puts him in the playoffs as a winner. He came into this race only 25 points in 16th, right? Look at Chris Buescher. If Kurt wins this race, Chris Buescher is 100 points behind. He came in 25 behind. Chastain would be 148 behind. He came in 69. So this would be a huge blow to the hopes for Buescher, Chastain, Matty D, if Kurt is able to win this race, Marty.
Jeff, the other thing to look at that is Tyler Reddick, plus 101 above the cut line. Last week at Road America, nobody in the field gained more points in that race than Tyler Reddick. Today, having another solid top 5 run. They haven't been out of the top 5 all day long, gaining points as well. They got points in stage 1. They got 6, looking at getting more points right now. So Tyler Reddick, in addition to Kurt Busch, doing everything he needs to do to make sure he's part of the 2021 playoffs.
Tyler Reddick, a part of Richard Childress Racing, RCR, as well as Austin Dillon. And then they currently helping out Trackhouse Racing as well with that organization. As, again, Kurt Busch out front here at Atlanta. Drivers continue to work hard here at Atlanta Motor Speedway. Laps winding down in stage 2, but they're adding up as far as how many green flag laps they have had on this set of tires. This is the longest green flag run of the day at 66 laps. And again, in the middle of that, we had pit stops. The radar currently clearing up a little bit. We're seeing a little bit of sun peeking through as this stage coming to an end.
Man, watching these guys drive. Look at Chase Elliott. He is so loose on corner exit, turning to the right. Off of turn 4 and off of turn 2 this last lap. He lost 3 spots in the last 2 or 3 laps. Drove up into the backside of the top 10, but now he's fell back outside the top 10 into 15th place.
Kyle Busch won stage 1. Let's listen into his radio as he runs second here.
It's tighter on the front side. I think we've hurt the splitter. We've lost downforce. It's not going to turn as good. We got to find some front steer here. We got to get it off the splitter with steer. Can't lose the back.
Steve?
Sounds like they made a height adjustment either with air pressure or packer, rear round, something about, you know, he feels now that what they did didn't help enough on the splitter. They need to go with a different direction. That's the tough part about this place, drivers, right? It's so rough on new tires. You have to hit the splitter, but how much and how much can you stand? Because it's just going to be high as the tires, grow over the life cycle of a run.
And something I heard him say, Steve, was we've hurt the splitter. Does he think he'd worn enough of the splitter off to where now you won't ever get that downforce back? Is that what his concern was? I don't know. Or is it just he's on the splitter too hard? But kind of led me to believe he was afraid that they would never get that downforce back because they've worn so much of it off.
Hey, Jeff, he used this phrase. He said, we are so on the splitter, you're killing it. So those were the two things I heard him say about the splitter, how hard he was hitting it.
Yeah, so probably on it too hard to go on new tires. And Jeff, to your point, maybe doing permanent damage, changing the shape of that under area, very important for front downforce and sensitivity.
This is perhaps the worst track for that, because when you do run that bottom and you put that left front tire on that line that we've been talking about, like Harvick does so well, it puts the splitter on the racetrack, and it really is easy to eat through the left front of that.
Watching Truex Jr., Byron, and Harvick all battling to get inside of the back, the top 10 here. Truex takes 10th spot. Now Harvick takes 11th from Byron. Harvick and Truex both gaining a few spots here to get inside of this top 10 and close in on the end of stage 2.
Neither one of them had flown back through the field since they had to pit after that, but they are clawing themselves back. These long runs, that's what Kevin Harvick needs. He needs long runs for this race to work out. He's really fast at the end of them.
Joey Logano is in jeopardy of going a lap down here at the end of stage 1 as we see Denny Hamlin working to the inside of Tyler Reddick. But right there in front of Kurt Busch, the race leader, is the 22 of Joey Logano.
Remember, Rick, more laps on those tires. He was the first one to hit pit row with that loose left rear wheel.
Can he stay on the lead lap? Coming up on 1 to go for Kurt Busch here in stage 2. Denny Hamlin working the high side now, trying to get by Tyler Reddick on the bottom of your screen.
Let's see if Kurt Busch wants to cut Joey Logano a break, or if he wants to try to put him a lap down so he has to take the free pass.
And this is important for Tyler to try to race for this position. He's right there at that cut line in the playoffs, so he has to work hard. I don't know if he'll keep it right here. Denny's going to have big speed off the corner.
Did that tell you as far as Kurt Busch coming to the back of the 22 and not going by him?
Looks like a nice move from a veteran to a veteran.
And so it will be stage 2 winner Kurt Busch this time. The brothers have swept the stages here at Atlanta. Kyle Busch won the first stage. Kurt Busch wins the second stage. Kyle finishing second in stage 2. Alex Bowman, Kyle Larson, Denny Hamlin, the top 5. Third stage win of 2021 for the driver of the 1, Kurt Busch. Points adding up for Kurt Busch. A win obviously would secure a spot in the playoffs, but every point you can gain helps get you to that point. His singing got her through brain cancer. It's a powerful new episode of summer's #1 show, America's Got Talent. It's new Tuesday on NBC. And you're watching NASCAR Cup Series racing from Atlanta. This telecast presented by Brestree. Dave.
Rick, Corey LaJoie is running the colors of Boss Baby today, and that's not the best news. The best news is that he got the free pass here. But remember when they first announced this paint scheme for Corey, he brought his 1-year-old boy Levi there because he was so darn cute, and he also looked kind of like the Boss Baby. Corey told us that before the race, and Levi's at home watching with Mom and making sure that Dad does the right things today because he's the boss.
I like his little Chuck Taylors. Looking good there. Some Boss Babies in theaters and on Peacock TV here. As pit road is open and anticipating everyone on the lead lap coming down here. That includes Joey Logano, who finished 21st in that second stage. Marty.
Rick, Cliff Daniels told Kyle Larson the good news is we started that green flag cycle 6 seconds behind the 1 car. We ended it 6 seconds behind the 1 car. So they feel like they're as good as Kurt Busch with a lot of room to make this car better. Larson saying, I need help everywhere. Car way too tight. They're going to free him up here, Dylan.
Marty, his teammate Alex Bowman getting tighter as the race goes, and their adjustments keep taking the rear of the car out of the racetrack. Going to make an air pressure adjustment for Alex Bowman in the 48, Dave.
Everything's relative. Kyle Busch, with all of the input for his 18 car, was running second, so you saw a chassis adjustment there. Meanwhile, Kurt Busch said these tires were a little bit too squishy on the beginning of the last run. There will be a little air pressure added to them this time.
Brothers stay 1 and 2 off of pit road. And the top 4 all holding position. Denny Hamlin loses a spot on pit road. So does Ryan Blaney. NASCAR on NBCSN is brought to you by Ford. Built Ford proud. The red, white, and blue slush float for a limited time only at Sonic. And by Coca-Cola. Together tastes better with Coca-Cola. Now let's go back to Rutledge Wood.
Rick, you know, there's tons of history at this track. We're actually at the back stretch, which used to be the front stretch. This is the old pedestrian walking tunnel. Not creepy at all. But when you talk about the history here, you got to talk about the movies that were made here, especially so many that people love. How about Stroker Ace? We know he was born to race. Clyde Torkel, of course. Shout out to the best chicken pit ever. How about Smokey and the Bandit? Not to mention maybe the greatest racing movie ever. Six Pack. All of those movies had a little bit shot here. A ton of history. I know it's going to look so different when we come back, but a lot of great movies there that people love were shot here at Atlanta Motor Speedway.
Yeah, so much history and entertainment that has taken place at this venue.
I want to make it known that Steve Letarte has not seen any of those movies.
Yeah. Well, you've seen Smokey and the Bandit.
Well,
haven't you seen Smokey and the Bandit?
Smokey and the Bandit, for sure, I've seen multiple times, but none of the
Stroker
racing
Race
ones.
and
No.
Six Pack, you haven't seen either of those.
No.
Yeah, we got to figure that out.
It's not okay.
Okay.
On a side note, Rudd, I think that tunnel was unlocked. I don't know why you didn't go down in and check it out. See if there's
Steve,
anything.
you're going to do that after saying you didn't see those movies?
Not creepy at all, he
Steve,
said.
we're gonna lock Steve in that tunnel with an iPad. With
We'll
those
bring you a
movies on it.
DVD player.
Watch movies. Also not good, the 11 on pit road speeding. It's his 4th speeding penalty this season. So Denny Hamlin, after trying to make up some ground, gets caught for speeding too fast entering. Do a little bit of track cleanup here.
Oh, they got some.
What do we got going on here?
Looks like they're going to
filler.
a little caulk or filler.
Oh,
Yep.
wow. Yeah, there's a little problem right here with the track coming apart. That's asphalt coming. That's a
live.
big problem.
Yeah.
Well,
That's a big problem.
Junior, they said they got to resurface it. This is why, right? I mean, you said yesterday during the broadcast that chunks of the pavement could come up, and here we go.
Yeah, they've kept putting this pavement off, because drivers didn't want to pave it and kept putting it off, and it's just gotten to the point where they absolutely have to pave it. There's no getting around it.
Where is that? I'm trying to
It's right here on the front straightaway in
Yeah.
the dog leg, right before the start-finish line.
You were watching your Stroker Ace movie, you couldn't see out the window.
I'm trying to get caught up.
Well, and even in front of that, you see a little bit more of it coming out.
That looks like it. So you jump in the gas at the Geico restart zone and then go through the pothole. That's going to be a tough spot to avoid.
Well, fortunately, a big piece of that didn't come out and go through somebody's grill, radiator, oil pan.
AKA Martinsville and Jeff Gordon.
I don't want to talk about it, Rick.
Sorry about that. But you see it in
You could have
front
used
also.
Dover. You could have used someone else's example.
You see a little bit more of it coming up there. But this, again, it's a 24-year-old surface.
It's going to be at least 10 minutes to fix that track repair there.
So you're hearing some spotter, driver, crew chief communication back and forth as they're assessing this, and we're hearing that there will be a red flag that will come out. They'll stop the field.
Back in the 90s in what's now the Xfinity Series, we'd go to South Boston, Volusia. We would tear racetracks completely up, and it would destroy race cars. You mentioned Martinsville with Jeff Gordon, but chunks of that asphalt do incredible amount of damage.
So this has happened before, and most recently maybe, I guess, at Daytona. And they used a Bondo substance to be able to fill that in and allow the race to continue. It will take a minute for it to be applied and for it to dry. We'll see if they use that again or if they go another route, but if they don't figure out a way to make that, patch that up some way, it's just going to continue to break apart as the cars go across it.
And they got to make sure that whatever they put down there stays down. So the field has stopped on the front stretch here at Atlanta Motor Speedway. 2 stages complete. Kurt Busch won the 2nd stage. Kyle Busch won the 1st stage. And we're doing a little track repair. All right, you racers, you've been looking forward to this. Next Sunday, spot in the playoffs, and Lobster, they're on the line for the Cup Series in New Hampshire. It's going to be the race team broadcast. DJ and Kyle Petty will be down there. 3 of you guys calling the race. That starts at 3 p.m. Eastern on NBCSN. And there's also going to be another great race taking place on the 8th. And for more on that, here's some of our friends.
I can't walk the streets of Nashville without thinking of legends like Johnny Cash, Loretta Lynn,
Mario Andretti. Hello, Sheryl Crow.
Mario, what are you doing here?
Cheryl, haven't you heard? IndyCar's coming to the streets of Nashville.
Mario, that is music to my ears.
Mine too.
Big Machine Music City Grand Prix, August 8th on NBCSN.
It's gonna get loud.
Mario, I love loud.
What a day of racing that will be. Again, that's August 8th. The Cup Series will be at Watkins Glen. And then IndyCar Music City Grand Prix in Nashville. They'll be going over that right there, the Korean War Veterans Memorial Bridge over Cumberland River. What a great venue and site that's going to be.
A little fun day of racing in New Hampshire. You watch the Glen, you see there, and then what great timing for the end of that IndyCar race. They can go straight from that to the party in downtown Nashville. We experienced that a few weeks ago.
I just can't wait to see them race over the bridge, man. That to me, that's like a fantasy layout, right? that sounds crazy, but it's going to be a reality. And just watching the cars crest over that, how they navigate that, it's going to be fun. I'm looking forward to next weekend too, at New Hampshire with us in the broadcast booth. We're going to miss you, Rick.
No, you're not.
Things are going to go off the rails, man.
You're going to love it.
You're not going to be there to keep us in the right direction, but we're going to have a good time.
Hey, Jeff, see if you can dial up Kurt Busch while we're under this red flag condition and they're working on the track here.
Hey, Kurt, it's the guys up in the booth. You with us?
10-4, I got you.
Well, bud, things have gone really well so far. What do you got to do to stay on top of this?
Yeah, things have been going great with our Ganassi Chevy. Giving Gear Wrench a great ride right now, man. These guys with Gear Wrench, they come on board for 4 races a year. And they're like, which one's your favorite track? I'm like, it's Atlanta. Right now we're doing it, and we got to stay focused here for these final 100 laps. Make sure we keep up with the track conditions and the way things are changing. But it's fun trying to dance with this old Atlanta surface one more time before she's gone.
Kurt, you said it's your favorite track. Tell us why.
The ability to slide the car around, overdrive some corners, underdrive corners. The ability to change the car's feel with throttle, brake, steering, and just letting it rip and trying to slide around this racetrack at 180 miles an hour. It's fun. I got a great crew and a great group that's continuing to push out all the pit stops for us, and we keep coming out on front. We just got to keep executing as a team.
You mentioned going 180 miles per hour. Did you notice that big crater in the racetrack that at 180 miles an hour?
No, I didn't see that, so we're fixing it. I'm more focused on the banking, making sure our car is handling good there. So just make sure we get the track safe and ready to rip. And we got to keep this Busch guy behind us and a few other fast guys that I'm sure are right there.
All right, Kurt, thank you for taking some time, bud. Good luck.
10-4, thanks, guys.
I like that. This Busch guy, my little brother, but I got to keep him behind me, which they have had some interesting battles between the two of them. Great success in their careers in NASCAR for both Kurt and Kyle Busch. So the track repairs going on right now. We'll get those done and hopefully get under green here quickly. Track repairs getting close now as they're packing in the new asphalt they're putting down there in those holes that were in the front stretch. So as they're continuing to work, we heard Kurt talk about his brother and trying to keep him behind him. Earlier, before the season started, Rutledge Woods sat down with Kyle Busch and they fielded questions from kids.
I'm a life faker. What kind of M&M do you like?
Oh, sweetheart.
What kind of M&Ms do I like? Oh man, that's a tough question because they're all so good.
And there's a ton of them out there.
The R&D department's very busy, but I tell you what, my all-time favorite always is the crispy M&Ms. I always just kind of revert back to that. That was my favorite as a kid growing up. They went away for a while, and then when they came back, we reintroduced them in 2015 with the green car.
Oh yeah.
Won a championship with that thing. So yeah, green is money, baby. I love it.
What's your favorite win, Dad?
I know that kid. Yeah, exactly. My favorite win, got to be 2015 Homestead. You know, just what that year meant, being able to bring home a championship. Brexton just being born that year, winning the Brickyard that year was awesome, but capping the whole year off with a championship at Homestead was pretty phenomenal. So that was super, super cool.
Great question, young man.
Yeah.
Hi, my name's Everett. I am 6 years old, and my question is, which driver causes the most crashes?
Which driver causes the most crashes? It's got to be Recce Spinhouse, right?
Oh no! Is that what y'all are calling him?
I mean, that's been around for a few years. We'll see how far that takes off. But, you know, he's in quite a few of them, maybe?
Holy cow, that hurts my face. That's so funny.
You're more red than the chair.
Yeah, was not prepared for that being your answer.
Hey, well, it happens.
Whew, that's solid. Great question, Everett. Great question.
Kyle caused him Recce Spinhouse. Okay. Ricky Stenhouse Jr. there behind the wheel of the 47. Steve, your speech.
I want no part of this. I
don't know if I've ever seen you speechless before.
I was hoping the drivers over there were going to jump in.
Well, his car does have a lot of duct tape on it. It's hard to argue with Kurt today, or Kyle today. Watching these guys patch this up, looks like they've done this before.
Stamping down the asphalt, and again, still under red flag condition. Let's see if we can chat with Tyler Reddick, Jeff.
Hold on 1 second. Get him dialed up here. Hey, Tyler, it's Burton. You got us?
Hey, yeah, I got you guys.
Things have gone well so far today. Tell us about your car.
Yeah, the car's been really good. All the men and women on this Akuma Chevrolet here at the track and back at the shop have brought a really good Richards racing piece. Just trying to figure out the one or two small details that we need to kind of get here this closing bit of this race so we go up there and contend with the 48. I feel like the 5 got better, you know, the 18 and Kurt, who's been able to stretch it out. So just trying to figure out what we got to do, you know, within our car and maybe not, just try and get a good pit stop. So just weighing that as I sit here.
Tyler, what do you think? What part of the racetrack are you? I know you're fast, but you need a little bit of speed. Is there one place in particular you're looking to be better in?
I think the biggest thing right now is just a little bit more versatility. It seems like we can get one thing working or the other. You know, in this Cup field, you know, you got guys that are really smart and can see that. They take it away. So just continue to try and be better across, you know, all the lane choices that you have, which are a lot here at Atlanta, and I think that'll help us probably more than anything. So, like I said, hopefully that's one more adjustment away here. Hopefully this last adjustment gets us that direction. But it's been a great day, and just like where we're running, hopefully we can have a good restart here, do a few things right, and find ourselves in position to go for it.
Early in the race, Junior, I got real concerned about you because you said you didn't have your cool vest wasn't working, your helmet blower wasn't working. Any of that stuff get fixed?
Yeah, have some sort of issue with, cool air or any kind of airflow through the helmet, which is not ideal, but the cool suit works pretty good. Once we get up to speed, that's still working, thankfully. So if I didn't have that, I don't know. I think I would be in a little bit of trouble, but thankfully, I can open up the NACA duct in here and get some air flowing to me at times and get my hand out the window. But I think the sun not being out much today is kind of saving me a little bit right now. So we'll see. We'll see if it gets any hotter, but I'm feeling pretty good, honestly.
All right, Tyler. Thanks, buddy, and have a good rest of the race.
Yep. Thanks, everyone. Enjoy the show. Hopefully we can make it entertaining here.
So he talks about that cool suit, and that's something that I think Jimmy Johnson might have been the first guy to introduce that to the series, but a lot of drivers are wearing it today. Yesterday, when Austin Dillon subbed in the one car in the Xfinity race, he wore Annette's cool suit for the first time. He'd never wore one. I saw him after the race to thank him and say, man, hey, I appreciate you filling in for us there. And he goes, hey, I'm great. I'm going to wear this. He's like, I didn't know if I wanted to get in there because it's going to be hot, but this cool suit, I've wore it for the first time, and it's incredible. And he's like, I'm going to be wearing this the rest of the year going forward because it's probably the most, it's probably the best thing that's happened to driver comfort in a long time. It's way better than even what you get in the air, the helmet. The air into the helmet is probably only about 20 degrees cooler than the temperature, ambient temperature inside the car. So it's a little bit better. It's not cold air. It's not like what you're feeling in your car driving down the street in the air conditioner. That cool vest, though, is absolutely at least probably 40 degrees cooler than the ambient temperature in the car. It's a tremendous breakthrough, and it covers your whole torso, and it really helps these drivers be able to withstand cars that I think have gotten hotter over the years. As they start to seal these cars to the ground and different things are happening with the way they build the cars, I think the temperature inside has went up and gotten more difficult, but that cool suit's saving a lot of these guys.
Hey, Dale, you know what's interesting? Kevin Harvick is trying a cool suit for the first time today. And, I talked to him before the race, and he said, hey, man, this day and age, you got to take advantage of every little piece that you can, and it might help. Now I think it's much cooler, as Tyler mentioned, than people thought it would be today. But, man, it was hot here yesterday in Atlanta. So I think all the drivers saw that. Austin Dillon experienced that, and Kevin Harvick said, you know what, I'm going to try it for the first time today.
Ryan Blaney and Denny Hamlin waiting for them to go from red to yellow. We've seen the work, the patches that have been done in the asphalt. They're complete. So at some point in time, I'm guessing that we'll see some vehicles run over the top of those. Look at the playoffs, and as they're running, again, everybody in yellow has won a race, locking themselves into that field, that playoff field that everyone is fighting for. And then you see Austin Dillon, Chris Buescher, those guys right there on either side of that playoff line, that cutoff line for them getting in.
Well, and Dale and Jeff pointed out, Kurt Busch winning really has changed that. Came in 25 points above, and we put the graphic up earlier. He's gone from about 80 or 90 points out of the playoffs back late spring, early summer, worked himself all the way up to plus 25. So doing a great job, but this is the creme de la creme. I mean, the win, the trophy, the guaranteed golden ticket into the playoffs. Now your mind and your pressure and your stress goes away. You could stop counting points, go to the road courses, enjoy yourself, try to find some playoff points, not go to Daytona, the pressure cooker, the end of the regular season. So this trophy for Chip Ganassi Racing, think about the last 2 weeks, right? They here last week, they've been sold to Trackhouse. What does that mean? We don't know as far as the employees, the team, the drivers, so many open-ended questions. If Kurt could come and win this and kind of let everybody maybe settle down and just focus on trying to win a championship, I think it'd be a huge morale booster for that entire team and give them a great goal heading in to the last 10 races of the season. And obviously help Kurt Busch in a situation where he doesn't know his future. With Chip Ganassi Racing getting sold, he doesn't know what 2022 will look like for him. All right, drivers, we have seen already 2 stages of this race, 93 laps remaining. We knew that it was going to be a lot of work. Did you expect it to be this hard on these drivers today? Yeah, I think it's been everything we expected. It's a difficult racetrack, but the temperatures are a little bit down today compared to what we expected at this time of year in Atlanta. But
It's been pretty interesting to see. Everyone seems to be able to run with the Hendrick cars. I mean, they've been the dominant cars throughout the year, but today they're kind of right in the mix of the top 10. Some runs they're very fast, some runs they're not, but they are improving, but they're not dominating. So does this mean that everybody's caught up? We'll have to see a few more races, I think, going forward, but I think that it's going to be a battle for this championship. I don't think it's going to be easy cakewalk for Hendrick Motorsports, and we're already seeing the field get there.
Yeah, I think this is an opportunity day for Kurt Busch, for Tyler Reddick, for guys like that, Alex Bowman. We know he already has wins, but the other thing I'm thinking about right now as a driver is I've sat in this car in a red flag situation for a long time. And every time that happens to me as a driver, my car drives completely different when you drop the green flag. The tire pressures are sitting there getting lower and lower. It just never is the same car. So I know it's only one run, but the next change you make is going to be based off of this run that you make. So how does this red flag going to affect the way your car drives? And then the change you make after that can determine if you're going to win this race or not.
We heard the engines get fired up. The flag has changed from red to yellow. So the cars will begin to roll now around the track, and they'll be coming back to the choose square block that we had seen earlier when they were making the decisions. We talked to Joey Logano about that this morning because a couple guys in the Xfinity Series actually ran over that box that's just past the start-finish line, and Joey said, why don't they put it right at the start-finish line so that we know exactly where it is? There it is right there, but it's hard to see obviously when you're in a car. And we're being told NASCAR has told the drivers they'll come back with 2 to go. 19 minutes for the red flag to repair the track.
We have to hope that that repair is going to be able to hold up. That'll be one thing that I'd be watching is for that hole to come back. Big chunks of asphalt to be moving around on the racetrack, getting into people's grills, knocking the radiators out of their cars, things like that. It could happen. Could be unfortunate for somebody. Hopefully the repair's done and we can continue this race to the finish. Hopefully there's not another hole somewhere that's going to develop. I mean, we really literally have stretched this track beyond. I mean, they were talking about repaving it 2 or 3 years ago, and drivers begged them not to. And they said, okay, we'll try to stretch it out. They did more and more work trying to seal this place up and keep this asphalt together, but it's just pushing it too far now.
Yeah, the yearly sealer budget for the seams going up every year.
Yeah.
I mean, look at the place.
And they left those safety vehicles out there so that the cars wouldn't roll over that new patched asphalt this time by.
It's an interesting spot. So, Junior, you're talking about will it will hold up, right? Middle of the backstretch, you would think it would, not have a lot of load on it. But right here out of the restart zone, these guys are going to be shifting gears, trying to accelerate. I mean, it's better than the corner for sure and having the cornering on it, but you just hope that it stays down.
It's interesting. Kurt Busch said that he didn't even notice it. I thought that was pretty interesting. We'll go back and watch replays of it. There's Ryan Blaney.
Yeah, that right front for sure had some movement.
This track's just rough enough anyway that another bump. Well, it's just another one.
Yeah, if that thing happened in Pocono on the straightaway, you'd notice it. As smooth as that place is.
So Kurt and Kyle will get ready to make their decision as to which line they're going to restart in, as will everyone else when they come by this time. We've seen that inside line be the preferred line for the control car or race leader.
And Rick, I've always thought as a crew chief, this was hard for me, right? Like I was in a rhythm, we were racing, I was working with my driver on what we need to do, thinking about strategies, kind of everything was going along. And then even rain, you kind of see it coming, it's coming, you're mentally ready for it. This type of red flag, you just had no idea it was coming, and then you just stop down. So now I need to get myself re-engaged, want to make sure my driver's re-engaged, make sure the pit crew's ready to go.
So now the field getting ready to make their decisions. Tyler Reddick actually making the choice of going up high.
Just, you know, in the past we've seen this racetrack, nobody wanted to run the top, but it's just not been a big disadvantage today.
Quite a few making the decision to go up high for the restart. Dave?
It's interesting today, Rick, as more rubber gets put into this racetrack, some tire wear diminishes, but other does not. And in fact, Kyle Busch's team told him that last time. The right front that came off of there, well, that was in the process of coming apart. So glad that they got that off. Still have to pay attention to how much you might be abusing your tires, Marty.
Dave, it has been an eventful day for Martin Truex Jr. Remember, started 37th on the field after failing inspection twice this morning. Drove up into the top 10. Then they had the issue on pit road where they made contact with Kevin Harvick. Came in to fix that. Restarted 24th. Drove their way back up to the top 10. Then had a bad pit stop. But Truex has driven his way back into the top 10 once again. Restarting 7th. I think they feel like the car is pretty good. Keep an eye on the 19 for the final few laps, Rick.
They've got their work cut out for them. The Busch brothers have been spectacular already today. Kurt Busch has led 76 laps. Kyle Busch 68 laps. Field now coming out of 4 and approaching the Geico restart zone.
Remember the 11 Denny Hamlin not in the front, had that speeding penalty.
Martin Truex Jr. moving to the outside, 3 wide as they go into 1. 4 wide now.
Oh, contact on the bottom there between Harvick and Blaney.
Let's see if anybody gets a tire rub from that. Harvick's stuck. It's just going to be hard to make this work. Although it's 4 wide on the outside, that's going to help him.
Awesome racing between these guys back here in the middle of the top 10.
Here comes that momentum of the 18 once again. Alex Bowman trying to fight on the bottom of the racetrack. But a big run for Kyle Busch.
He's going to have to work a little bit harder on the outside. That 48 got stalled out on the back straightaway with a side draft. And Bowman's going to clear him in the middle of 3 and 4 and go after this 1 car.
Look who's coming into the picture. Kyle Larson in the 5, currently 4th.
Slowly worked on this 5 car to get it better all day long. Seems to have the pace he needs. This 48's really fast on new tires.
Watch way up the racetrack right there, though. Here comes Kyle Busch, going to drive underneath him.
He got in the wake of that 1 car.
It's dragging him back right here. He's got the preferred lane getting into 3. Want to be on the bottom in 3 and 4.
Now the 18 slides up in front of the 48, takes the air away from him. Out to the middle of the racetrack. Trying to keep some air on the nose of that car so it keeps turning through the corners as he starts to apply the throttle.
Behind him, Tyler Reddick got a big run on Truex. Now Keselowski underneath Reddick.
Reddick tried to block a little bit there. Kind of gave up on it, knew the 2 car had too big a run.
Truex had an issue off of turn 2, and that slowed him up, let Reddick make a run. Keselowski took advantage of both of them.
Marty, what's going on with Kyle Larson?
Boy, to Junior's point, you can see that Kyle Larson is the best he's been all day long. Larson said the car has been tight for much of the day, but could tell immediately when it fired off, much better already on this run in just a few laps that we've already turned. Could it be the opposite of what happened to hit them here in March? After dominating all the race, they got past with 9 to go for the lead. Larson now stalking the lead and hasn't led a lap so far this afternoon.
Martin Truex Jr. working to the inside of Tyler Reddick. But Larson running up there in the top 5 now. He's running 4th. And still has his sights set as we see Reddick getting back by the 19 of Martin Truex Jr. Here comes the 12. So Blaney is going to go by as well.
Another car that's getting better as this day is going on is Ryan Blaney. Dylan, what do you have on Ryan?
Well, they've been really struggling with the balance all day. He just came on the radio a couple laps ago, said we're plowing tight already. Now, we saw him maybe run over a piece of that track that came up, and he had come on the radio right at the end of stage 2 and said, I think I've got a tire coming apart, and then they took it off, and there was definitely a chunk missing, so they weren't sure if that was just from wear or if that was from hitting maybe that piece of the racetrack that came up. So a close call nonetheless. They were able to get down here and change the tire under yellow at the end of stage 2, but it's been a trying day for these guys, and they're still kind of making a good day out of it as they run inside the top 10 in the 7th spot right now.
See him adjusting that aqueduct vent that runs over there on the right side of the car. You see it. He can open and close that. That changes the balance of the car. It affects the aero on the outside of the car, Letarte.
Telling you, that was pressure going to that telestrator after the last couple of weeks. I'm glad I pointed it out.
You didn't draw a circle, so it was okay.
Yeah.
So when he adjusts that, what is he trying to do to the car?
Yeah, so as the air comes in that right side neck duct, he can open and close it. And what that basically does is move the center of pressure for aero. So it actually just moves it a little bit looser or a little bit tighter depending on the car's setup. So as he goes either end of the racetrack or Dale, as the tires wear, maybe his balance of the race car is going a certain way, and he's reaching over there and adjusting it. We heard Tyler Reddick mention it. What did he tell you guys? He was doing it just to try to get some fresh air in the car.
I was looking at that car. It looked like he has a little bit of damage to the right rear quarter panel. Yeah, you see it sticking out like that? That's good damage. I think that's the kind of damage you want if you get any kind of damage where you get basically a spoiler, additional side force to the right side of that car. Now, if you got a tight car, that's going to make it worse. That's going to make it tighter. But if you're hung out, need a little bit more grip in that right rear, that's the type of damage you get. It's going to help that. Watch you drive around that 2 car.
Maybe that's why he stopped adjusting the aqueduct. Maybe the aero changed because of that damage.
But right by his teammate, and so Blaney moving forward. Everyone still chasing after Kurt Busch. It's NASCAR nonstop. Just 75 laps remaining. NASCAR Cup Series racing from Atlanta. This telecast presented by Red Street. Out front, it's Kurt Busch. Dave.
3 times, Rick, the Busch brothers have finished 1-2 in the Cup Series. Kyle is 2-1 on Kurt, so he could even that up today if Kyle stays right where he is. One thing to keep in mind, at the very start of that run, Kurt's car said, I'm on the edge of tightness, but that quickly went away, and he started to gap his little brother again. He currently has a 1.2 second lead over Kyle. Dylan?
And Dave, running in the 3rd spot, the best of the Hendrick cars today has been Alex Bowman. We've, of course, talked so much about how these intermediate tracks playing right into their strengths as an organization so far this year. And Greg Ives, the crew chief, viewed this race as an opportunity and viewed it as our race to lose, specifically here at Atlanta on another 1.5-mile racetrack. Also saw it as a great chance for them to make some points today. You can never have too many of those. They've made the 3rd most out of anybody, and they run in that 3rd spot on track, Marty.
Dylan, you got to dip pretty far back to find Kevin Harvick, who now sits in the 15th position and just struggling with the handling of the race car. In fact, a moment ago he said on the radio, I don't know how to drive this thing. It is literally all over the place. He might lose another spot right here to his teammate Chase Briscoe. They have struggled with the handling all day long in this 4 car. Could it be that Kevin Harvick, I mean, so far this year, Rick, he hasn't led a lap at a 1.5-mile racetrack, and at his best track, as he told us in the pre-race, just a struggle at Atlanta today for Harvick.
So different from what we saw a year ago. 2020 was really Harvick's season. We were all surprised when he didn't make it into the championship 4. He had more wins than anybody else, and right there, sideways as he was coming out of 4.
Yeah, you can see the back of the car just hung out. He had actually passed his teammate Briscoe, and then Briscoe crossing back over. They had quite a battle for 2 or 3 laps. See Harvick still right. Wow, look at how far around that car is. He has got his hands full.
And he's got to be tearing up the rear tires on that car, right, Steve?
Yeah, that right rear tire is very unhappy when it's this loose. 14 of Briscoe. Nice run for Briscoe.
Coming off a career best finish 6 a week ago.
Terrible.
Terrible. We're hearing that out of Kevin Harvick. Dylan.
But yeah, so you look at the Stewart-Haas number 4 there of Harvick, talk about what a bad day it's been for him. I think alternatively for Chase Briscoe, running 14th right now is a really, really good day for these guys. As you said, coming off their career best run of 6th at Road America last weekend, where they really were fast all weekend and contenders the entire time. But Chase said earlier today that the spring race here was their worst race of the entire year. The car had no speed, drove terribly, wasn't very optimistic about today. So while I know he probably wants to be a little better than racing for 14th and 15th, it's kind of a tale of 2 tapes. You've got one guy at the Stewart-Haas camp who's not very happy with the day they're having. I think for the other guy, the 14 at Chase Briscoe, he'll take a 14th or a 15th today after the year they've had.
Yeah, perspective. A rookie coming in here, Chase Briscoe. He's been the best rookie pretty much all season long. But trying to not have the bad luck that they've had to start 2021 off.
Well, and I think that good run from the road course carries forward not just in momentum, but in starting position. So you remember he started 11th today. So that is, 8, 10 spots higher than we normally see Briscoe roll off. They've done a good job of just trying to manage that, staying in the lead lap.
I'm like a 7 out of 10 loose here. Really bad.
Oh, I think that's the 2 of Brad Keselowski, Marty.
At the New Hampshire and said, we have to win this race. They feel like that is the best test for Phoenix later in the year. The 750 package, much better for the 2 team. I asked him about that last week. He said, I have the same philosophy this year. We have to win the race next week at New Hampshire to show that we can still be a championship contender. The 550 stuff has not been great for the 2 team, but they feel like places like New Hampshire, they should be good next week.
My concern for the 2, and I love that approach, is with only 6 playoff points and 1 win so far this season. I know Phoenix is important, but you have to get there as part of the championship 4. And drivers, I'd love to get you guys' opinion on this, but I have yet to see any sort of just consistent pace out of the 2 where I can, with confidence, put him in my championship 4.
Yeah, I feel the same way. They've been, we've seen races where they've run 22nd, 23rd, like in the low 20s. We've seen other races where you think they're fast enough to win. They just haven't had consistent speed really through the whole year. On top of that, with all the rumors about is Brad Keselowski going to leave, what's he going to do, that's a distraction. There's no way it can't be a distraction.
Yeah, I think that's where most of the pace is, and it's hard to, that's not a tangible thing that, that you can really put your finger on, but when he makes the announcement or if when the rumors start going around that something's going to happen, he's going to an entirely different organization. His focus goes there a little bit, plus the team's focus goes to where, what's their future, who's coming to drive this car. It's difficult on a team. Now, Brad, he's a champion. He may be able to find the speed and the pace they need in the playoffs to make this work, but it's not going in the right direction right now. Another guy who's going in the right direction, that 20 car right here in front of Brad, Christopher Bell. Dave, what do you got?
Up into the top 10 now, and when I checked with his crew chief Adam Stevens this morning about the March race here, horrible was what he said. They made a lot of changes and a lot of decisions to help Christopher do better today, and he certainly has done that. In the March race, loose with no grip, no trust in the car. Today, mostly just a little bit tight, but all the tires that have come off of it have looked good, and Christopher stayed in the game all day. After a nice second place finish last week on the road course, guys, at Road America.
Yeah, I talked to Christopher Bell this week, and he was adamant that he felt like they would run way better this race than they did in the spring. This is a new pairing this year, crew chief driver, trying to get used to each other with no practice. He said that's been a challenge, but over the last couple of months, he started to see results, started to see speed. He was very confident they would run much better this week than they did the first race.
And I love this paint scheme that Christopher Bell has here, part of the Racing for a Miracle program, partnership between Craftsman and Ace Hardware. Their foundation raising money and awareness for the Christian Miracle Network hospitals, which handle Children's Miracle Network hospitals, raising funds for over 170 children's hospitals that support health of 10 million kids each year across the USA and Canada. So a great paint scheme doing great things for kids around the country.
So impressive. Another guy that's having what I call a solid day. Nothing you're going to write about, nothing you're going to put on the mantle, but the 17 of Chris Buescher. The car, very clean, no damage, stayed on the lead lap, no drama. Currently running in the 16th position. 3 straight top 10 finishes on 1.5 mile tracks. When you look at this track specifically, 2 top 10s here in the last 3 Atlanta races. So maybe looking for a little more, but days like today where you just hang around inside that top 10, you have no idea what the last 61 laps are going to hold. Late restarts could fall his way. Just good solid days. You can build on those.
Yeah, you want to have a good solid finish as well, as we have 61 to go. We go NASCAR nonstop. Kyle Busch has closed the gap now, and so Kurt Busch trying to stay out in front of his little brother, but Kyle Busch is going to have the momentum here as he comes out of 4.
Kurt did a good job around 3 and 4 to create a little space there, buy him a little time to find some pace, move around on this racetrack. We're hearing that the 1 car is fighting a tight condition to allow this 18 to close in. The traffic, see that traffic way out there ahead, little clear track, but right now Kurt Busch controls it.
Really interesting. Kurt Busch ran like a 33.70, a 33.80 the 2 laps prior, and then just went a 33.30. Like, I don't know if he had something going on he was dealing with, or he just learned how to drive the tight condition. But that lap also was 0.3 quicker than it was 2 laps before.
See him trying to straddle that seam right there. Not going all the way to the top of the racetrack. You can move around. There's all kinds of places to run here and find grip. Goes to the bottom of 3 and 4 again. Right there against that apron. 18 car right up against the wall, ripping the fence.
So now a little gap between 1 and 2 here. And Steve, would we try to break this stage up, try to get as close to the middle before you come to pit road?
Yeah, it depends on how your car is handling. If you're really losing the grip, maybe you come a lap or 2 early. But you can't ask too much out of that last set of tires. 55 to go in the race currently. I would like to see 45, 47 to go before I came to pit road. The big difference is between these two, who blinks first. You know, whoever's in second, as crazy as it sounds, has a little advantage. So much tire fall off. If you could pit just 1 lap earlier, leapfrog the leader, and then make him run you back down.
All right, 2 lap cars right here in front of Kurt. Where do they go? Where does he go? Does that cost him any speed?
One took the high road, and the other one took the low road. So Kurt had to go right through the middle there.
It's just fascinating to me. It looked like Kyle was just going to run Kurt down, like ran him down from 3 laps. He was on his bumper, and then Kurt got faster again, is driven back away from his brother.
I see another thing that's interesting is how close these guys are willing to push it up against that outside wall, especially in turn 3 and 4. You see the 18 car, Kyle Busch, right on the wall. The closer you can get to it, there's more speed, but this slick racetrack, if you misjudge that, get the car into the fence, you're going to be in trouble. More lap traffic. Difficult situation for Kurt. He's going to have to go low here at 99. He's going to have to lift a little bit because of the wake.
But Kyle wasn't able to keep his car on the bottom at all. He just washed way up the racetrack. Look at that gap it created.
Kyle tucks in behind the 37 of Brian Preece.
This will get frustrating for Kurt, because as he runs this 99 car down, even though he's off pace a little bit, it's taking air off his car. His car is not going to drive as well.
Yeah, the 99 just came to pit road a few laps ago to get tires, so he has a little extra pace with that damaged car out in front of the leader.
So as this gap starts to spread a little bit, Dale and Jeff, the question I'm now thinking is I go back to 3rd and 4th. You know, 3 and 5 seconds out for Bowman and Larson. At most tracks, that's so far out you can't really push the issue on green flag cycle. But here, I mean, if one of those guys come to pit road, I think you have to just counter right away, don't you think? If you're the leader, Kurt Busch Jr., and you know the guy in 3rd comes to pit road, you want to come the next lap.
Yeah, 3rd place being 3 seconds back. That would give Bowman a chance to eat away at that 3 seconds. Dave.
Joey Logano is on pit road. Last time talking to his crew about the car, he needs a little bit of everything. They've even talked about changing the tire stagger just a little bit to try to help Joey today. Just trying to stay in it. Remember, a different setup for him today to try to get better on these types of tracks. Hasn't exactly panned out the way they do, but they have a lot more data at the end of the day for Logano.
Dylan.
Here's Ryan Blaney, Team Penske teammate to the car we just saw, Joey Logano. Balance issues for these guys throughout the day, but still making a good day out of it inside the top 10. Ryan said car better than it was that run than at the start of the run, but it is still tight, so they are still trying to get that thing to turn for him. Dave.
The floodgates have opened, Dylan. You're seeing everybody come down pit road, including Matt DiBenedetto just outside the top 10. His car a little bit tight. Brad Keselowski, you see him at the front there. He said the loose condition got much better as the run went on, Dave.
Kyle Busch got frustrated behind his brother there, not being able to pass him. Once that lap, he almost caught him. But they're going to leave the balance pretty much the same. No, now a chassis adjustment to try to get Kyle a little bit more toward the end of this race. Here comes the leader, Kurt Busch, down pit road. The pit crew has been spot on all day long. They don't know if this is going to be his last stop or not today, Marty.
You see Denny Hamlin coming on pit road. He restarted 22nd after that speeding penalty last time, Dave. Only made his way up to 18th and then had to dodge his teammate Martin Truex Jr. as he was coming into a stall, Dave.
That entire run, Kurt Busch's car was a little bit too tight, difficult to turn, so they're going to make a chassis and perhaps an air pressure adjustment as well as he gets more Goodyear tires and Sunoco fuel to the end. We know the fuel will last. Will the tires hold on long enough? And another good stop by the crew.
All right, it's all who got on pit road, who performed, what kind of speed. We see the one leaving pit road, the 18's on the front stretch. I think the 18's going to easily go by the one down here in the middle of 1 and 2. Let's see. Comes into sight. One lap earlier on pit road is the difference maker for Kyle Busch in the 18. He will be the leader of the race with 48 to go. One other thing to note, the 5 of Kyle Larson speeding. Awful time for a penalty. It's going to really remove Larson, I think, from contention.
We talk about it time and time again, who the best on pit road is. Who's the best getting on the pit road? Kyle Busch. Kyle Busch pushes the issue right up against the envelope. Rarely does he speed. Rarely does he make mistakes. Rarely does he get beat.
And now he's out front, trying to sweep the weekend. He won the Xfinity Series race yesterday.
He came to pit road a lap early, but that gap that he's got right now, that was because he was better coming to pit road. You could see Kurt was a lot more conservative on that pit entry.
You know me, I was giving it all to the crew chief of the pit call, but the gap is definitely big. I completely agree. Kyle Busch just proves so many different ways to take advantage and try to win these races.
Remember, he came on the radio and told his crew that the only reason he didn't pass the run was because of an aerodynamic disadvantage when he got right behind Kurt. And so what do you do as a crew chief? Ben Bayshore made the call. I can come a lap earlier than Kurt, have a good pit stop, and perhaps get out front like they did.
Now I think this is the most difficult time because 46 laps to go in Atlanta is a long time. So drivers, how hard are we running? 46 to go, 1 second lead. I mean, you just can't go out there and run as hard as possible. You still have to take care of your tires, or you're going to worry about that on the other half of the run.
I think you send it. I think you go for it and hope that you got the car that can run on the short run, the middle of the run, and the end. You may get a yellow late in the race as well for an opportunity to come back to pit road and put tires on, but I'd be telling my crew chief everything my car's doing right now, because if you do get that late run, you need that early run speed. You got to be able to adjust the car. If you don't have that speed, you need to fire off and run a quick 10 laps late in this race.
Yeah, back to this pit stop. That's 2.5 seconds. He pitted a lap before. He's 1.2 seconds ahead. He pitted a lap before. The difference between new tires and old tires for Kyle on those runs was 1.4 seconds. So that getting on pit road a lap before, that is the difference right here. That is 1.4 seconds. He has a 1.2 second lead. Advantage new tires.
Great job by the 18 team. Putting it all together when it counted. And so Kyle Busch now with that 1.2 second lead over older brother Kurt Busch. Alex Bowman back there in third. Martin Truex Jr. Has rebounded well today. He's running in the 4th position. Tyler Reddick is 5th.
We mentioned Kyle Larson and that speeding penalty. He has served his pass through. Now sits 21st on the racetrack, only a few seconds in front of the leader.
There's Chase Elliott, the Dawsonville, Georgia driver.
I thought today was his day, Rick. I won't lie. Coming off that Road America win, I don't know, it was all building up, Junior. I just felt we were going to see Chase finally win at his home track, but he still can. 42 laps to go, but it's going to be a grind. He just hasn't seemed to have a winning car yet today.
Running that high line, almost wide open through those turns.
So the longest run we've had today on a set of tires is about 55 laps. This will be about 50 they got to make. So who was good on a long run? If it goes green this whole way, whoever had that good long run speed, that was an advantage to Kurt early in this race. Let's see if that continues in this run.
Kyle Busch is out front. Mentioned the weekend sweep is still a possibility. He's done it 12 times before. Let's go NASCAR nonstop. 8/10 of a second lead for Kyle Busch over brother Kurt Busch. And what a difference a year makes. We talk about, Kevin Harvick and the struggles. On the opposite side of that, Kyle Busch a year ago was struggling to get a win, and he had a win streak that he was really worried about. He said, I've invested 16 years in this racing, and I've won at least one race every single year. Well, he got that win last year, and this year already 2 wins for Kyle Busch. Maybe could make it 3, but quite a difference of his mentality going into this race, obviously, and the playoffs that are coming up.
And we asked him about that win streak this year as soon as he won on NASCAR American Motor Mouse.
He's doing what you're doing. He's driving the heck out of it, sliding it, trying to catch up, make ground.
That's great radio from the spotter to the 18, coaching him up. I think that was a spotter. He was admitted. He goes, yes, that win streak was very important to me. It was stressful last year. You could almost feel the relief just talking to him that he knew that was behind him. He could then focus ahead at the playoffs and trying to make a run for a championship.
The racing the way it is right now, and the field's so spread out across this racetrack, it's going to be more than just Kyle Busch behind the wheel of this car that gets them to victory lane. They're going to have to get great help from the spotter. Up on the spotter stand, he's going to have to work with all these other guys on the racetrack to try to get them to go where they need them to go, to not be able to impede the process of this 18 car. We know earlier in the season, Kyle Larson looked to be on his way to victory when late in the race, some traffic made things difficult for Kyle. It allowed Blaney to pass him and win the race. So now we're in the same situation with the Busch brothers. And it's a total team effort for that 18 car working right now to get through all this lap traffic.
And this is going to be a long run, so when it's a head-to-head battle, you tend to push really hard. Has somebody pushed harder than the other and hurt their tires a little bit? We won't know that for another 20 laps, maybe 15. Kurt was a little bit quicker over the last several laps. Kyle's changed his lane a couple times, looking to try to find a little bit of speed. Both of them right on the bottom in 3 and 4. Kurt's running him down.
He's good for like what? 15 to 25? Yes, sir. Right in that range.
Kurt Busch asking about when the 18 car is the strongest, right out in front of these guys. They're lapping the next car to be lapped is going to be Ross Chastain. The next car on the lead lap to be lapped is Ross Chastain. Those are the cars you worry about, the ones with pace. Ross Chastain, possibly Kyle Larson. Those are the cars that are going to fight to try to stay on the lead lap.
And Kurt found something that lap. He went to the top of 1 and 2 and cut about 0.2 of a second off of the lead. That time he went to the middle, but he got a ton of momentum down the back straightaway the lap before, doing it again this time. See if Kurt continues to run that top lane.
Jeff, remember earlier we heard Dave mention the 1-2 finishes out of the Busch brothers, and if you remember back to Bristol, it was Kurt Busch that was trying to catch Kyle Busch, and he said, if I would have got to him, I would have put the bumper to him and moved him out of the way. I want to win that bad. Well, now, can he get to him and potentially move his brother out of the way here?
Once again, Kurt went to the top. Helps him down the back straight.
I think the cars are just too evenly matched. It's going to take something else to slow down that 18 car, like the lap traffic in front of him that made this race earlier this season such a difference maker. There you see Ross Chastain running the bottom of the racetrack, right? That's where the 18 wants to run. Now, we've seen Kyle Busch move to the top, do a lot of great work up there. I think Kyle's just out front trying to keep his car straight, not trying to slide the right front or the right rear, trying to use all those tires evenly throughout this run, not to upset the car and ruin the car for late in this race.
27 laps to go. Let's get some updates. We'll start with Dave.
And those of you at home who are brothers, you kind of wonder, do these brothers compete against each other in a heavy hitter kind of way? Absolutely. Since they were kids, they know each other's moves. They watch each other constantly. They review what they've done, and every once in a while around the dinner table they might share just enough to give the other a thought that he might have a leg up on his brother. Right now, Kurt Busch chasing down Kyle Busch. They run 1-2. We'll see if it'll be another 1-2 finish for the Busch brothers. Dylan.
And Dave behind them in the third spot as Alex Bowman came into this race feeling pretty confident. Ran really well here in the spring. Had a career best Atlanta finish of third for Alex. Today, the car has struggled a little bit on long runs with a tight condition, but they've soldiered on throughout the day, adjusted on it on nearly every pit stop. They've run inside the top 5 almost the entire race and sit third right now, Marty.
Dylan, as we go through the field, we find Martin Truex Jr. in the 4th position, and it could be back-to-back top 10s for that race team, and the 3rd today. So he's only had 2 top 10s since he finished the win at Darlington. So Truex could get a much-needed run. And remember, they've come through the field 3 times today. So Truex up in 4th. Meanwhile, Tyler Reddick said it took off great on this run and doing, as we mentioned earlier, everything he needs to do to be in the playoffs. Last week, they gained the most points. Today, here at Atlanta, it looks like they'll gain the 5th most points. The battle for the lead heating up, though, Rick.
So the 42 car is now taking that high side, trying to take the line away from the 18, and look at what it does. The 1 car, Kurt Busch, drives right up to the inside of the 18. Kyle Busch off turn 4, a battle for the lead.
Door to door as they race into turn 1, and we knew lap traffic was going to come into play.
A little contact.
Oh, side by side. Kyle trying to take the air off of Kurt.
He doesn't want to take too much off. He doesn't want him sliding up the racetrack into him.
This right here is where Kurt needs, if he can keep to that left rear quarter panel, he'll have an advantage, but there's a lap car in front of him on the bottom. Where does the lap car go? That's where Kurt wants the bottom of 3 and 4. He will clear his brother here.
Kurt Busch back out in front in Atlanta.
Back to your marks, race the track. Driver away by 2.
So the 18 stalled out behind the 42. The 42 changed from the bottom of the racetrack to the top, took the 18's air away. Kurt Busch was able to stay there on the inside, side draft down the back straightaway. He got a little help from his teammate at the same time. Here comes Kyle Busch, though, fighting back.
They'll both go to the bottom here in 1 and 3 and 4. Kurt will go to the bottom. He wants the bottom. That's the way to be over here. Kyle's going to take the top, just trying to get clean air. What does Kurt do in 1 and 2? Looks like to me Kurt's car is better on the bottom, but he does not want to give his brother a run on the top. He wants to take the air away from him. To the top, just trying to mess with the air. This battle's not over.
No, not at all. And Jeff, you were in this same scenario with your brother, your older brother Ward, and you raced. You guys finished 1, 2, 3 times. How much more satisfying was it to be able to beat your older brother?
Well, you know, listen, you want to beat everybody, but it's kind of bittersweet, right? Your brother wants as bad as you do, and when you win, you take it away from him. So it's a difficult thing racing against your brother. That's what you're doing. You're not racing with him, you're racing against him. That time, Kurt went to the top, Kyle went to the bottom, advantage Kyle. That helped him running the bottom. Now Kurt needs to respond to that. What is he going to do the next time in 1 and 2?
Junior, you keep pointing out the lap traffic every time we show the straightaway in front of them. It's full of race cars, so we're going to have more of it. Look at all of them.
If I'm Kurt, I'm going to the bottom this time. There he goes. Didn't really get where he wanted to be, I don't think, though.
Still a half a second separating these two.
Plenty of lap traffic up ahead.
Plenty of laps, but at the same time, we have to use the number 20 because that's it. 20 laps remaining on this surface at Atlanta Motor Speedway. So much history here. Kyle Busch has been very vocal. He doesn't want him to change it. He doesn't want him to do anything different here. He's had great success on this surface.
So I think the next car that Kurt Busch should be concerned about, it's possibly not this slower lap traffic, okay? It's the cars in the lead lap that have pace. The next car is in front of him. That's Kyle Larson. When he gets within dirty air of that 5 car, Kyle Larson, or whoever that lead lap car is, that's when he's going to have the same issue that the 18 car had. He's going to stall out. And that car could make things difficult for him, just like Ross Chastain made things difficult for Kyle Busch. There's Kyle Larson right there. There's the distance now. This gap's been closing very slowly. and it should be affecting that one car anytime now.
And speeding has put Kyle Larson in this position, but I think we're all surprised that Kyle Larson potentially could get lapped here at Atlanta, where he dominated in the spring.
Yeah, it's just having, I mean, he made his car better, but just didn't have the car we expected him to have. And to Junior's point, if it isn't Larson, it could be Byron or Custer, because both those cars are just in front of Larson, and they're both still in the lead lap as well.
We heard Kyle Busch's spotter tell him, look, a lot of laps, a lot of lap traffic. That's what he was telling him. You know it's going to cause a problem.
And there's a lot of lap cars to contend with here. And Kurt has closed in on the 5 car quite a bit. The 5 and the 24 side by side right here.
Look at all this congestion in front of him.
One thing that Kurt's able to do, though, it seems like he's able to make pace in multiple grooves. He doesn't just have to run the top, have to run the bottom. He can run the middle. That helps him get around slower cars. Kyle with a good exit that time, though, closed the gap a little bit.
Yeah, that wasn't too good of a corner for Kurt. And now Kurt's on the bottom with both cars in front of him. Kyle on the high side in cleaner air.
24 knows what we need. Bottom.
All right.
This is where the spotters are going to work, aren't they, guys?
That's right. Total team effort. Spotters are going to be running all over the place upstairs trying to talk to these other cars, saying, man, please give us this lane. This is where we want to be. Kurt not able to get on the inside at 24. Cost him a little bit of pace down the back straightaway, so Kyle's able to close in a little bit more.
Oh, that worked out for Kyle Kurt perfectly, though. I don't think Kurt could have asked for much more than that. Caught that slower car and was able to get around him and get to the bottom.
14 more to go. Remember, this race 100 laps shorter than normal here at Atlanta. A 400-mile race.
Big wiggle right there from Kurt Busch. You know how tense it is in that car right now, Rick. It is, you know it's 14 to go. You are going to the playoffs. If you're Kurt Busch, you're going to the playoffs if you win this race.
And a guy who came in 16th in points, just 25 points above the cut line before this race. A win locks him into the playoffs.
Well, let's not forget, Rick, this is going to be a long run on the last set of tires while pushing the hardest. They're going to ask these tires why the racetrack has changed colors. There's been a lot of rubber put down. This place is still tough on tires, and there's no cruising, there's no pushing. You heard Dale Jr. earlier, send it. Run as hard as you can. That's what they've been doing. They got to do it again for 13 more laps.
Kyle Busch had an excellent 1 and 2 that time. He cut about 2/10 out of the lead, running right against the boards. Worked for him in 3 and 4 as well.
Yeah.
That was a big lap right there for Kyle.
Yeah, it was the fastest lap turn.
Kurt's going to try to get up the racetrack a little bit. Still enough room on that outside line for the 18 to get a little air on the nose and make even more gains.
Half lane higher to hurt him worse.
Here comes the 18 of Kyle Busch.
You heard the spotter say a half a lane higher to hurt him worse.
Now Kurt's spotter's telling him to get higher up the racetrack to get in his way, get awake. The air coming off that one car can disturb that 18 and take away his advantage.
Under 0.3 of a second now, the gap. He's right on his back bumper.
Starting to see the back of the one car move around a lot on the bottom of the corner.
Oh, Kurt's struggling.
Oh, Kyle is all over him.
Now Kyle's probably going to dive to the bottom. I don't know where Kurt goes here. He hasn't ran the top at all. Lap car is going to decide where they go to the bottom of the racetrack, both cars. That's good for Kurt. See Kyle struggle there? Loses all of that he gained.
A little bit of a gap. Clear by 4 now.
It's back to 0.4 of a second. And now a half a second.
Both of them back to the top. I still think Kurt could get up a little bit higher and make things even more difficult for his brother in turns 1 and 2.
Kyle has been there today already. Kurt has not. Kurt has not put it right on the wall. Kyle has experience doing it. With only 10 to go, if you're going to go all the way up to where Kyle is, you better figure it out quickly. And he continues to close in on Larson, and that's making his day even that much more difficult. Although Larson is running the bottom of the racetrack in 1 and 2, that helps Kurt as long as Kurt wants to run that top lane, giving him clean air.
We talked about racing for a spot in the playoffs, but Kurt Busch really, as much of a veteran race car driver as he is, he's got to make his resume look the best right now, because you don't know what's going to happen in 2022 because of Chip Ganassi Racing being sold to Trackhouse Racing. Now Kurt Busch could be without a ride in 2022, but a lot more valuable of a race car driver if you're winning races and in the playoffs.
Oh, I think he's already got his deal done. We just don't know about it. That one car, he wants to try to win this race, like himself in the playoffs. That 18 car is clawing. Watch this 18 run the fence down here. Running right on the wall.
And it worked the last lap, and it's working this lap too. Look at the run he's going to have off of 4.
He's doing that to perfection.
Under 7 laps to go.
To the bottom, the 18
Look at
goes.
this run, the 18 has.
How does this work? Very bottom. He's alongside, almost clearing Kurt.
Slides up the racetrack, just can't get in front of him.
But now he's got Kurt in a position he doesn't want to be in. What does Kurt do? He goes to the bottom, Kyle to the top. Tons of momentum loss. Oh, God, almost in the wall.
Now the guesswork for Kurt Busch is much more difficult. He's seen Kyle run both lanes.
And that turn 3 and 4 didn't go very well for Kyle. When you change what you're doing like you did in 1 and 2, it kind of messes up your repetition and strategy in 3 and 4 running that top.
But Kyle now knows he can run that bottom in 1 and 2 if Kurt gives it to him.
And Kurt flies down the back straightaway off the top there, drives back away.
0.4 of a second separating the top 2.
This is so fun watching these two guys go at it. 2 of the best.
And not making a mistake.
Yet. And you're pushing so hard in this situation. Your own edge, Rick.
They seem to be closing in even more on some traffic. Yes. That's going to make things more obstacles for Kurt Busch.
0.6 of a second.
And Kyle Busch is looking out the window going, yes, traffic, more traffic.
Kyle almost got in the wall right there off of 2. I think he had to lift a little bit, created more of a gap. Just Kyle pushing a little too hard.
All right, they're going to be 3 wide off of turn 4 here with Kurt. He does a great job running that low line.
You can see the gap created. Kyle just had an issue off of 2. I think he had to come way out of the throttle.
He goes back to the middle and the bottom of the racetrack. Kurt Busch running that second line through 1 and 2. Under 4 laps to go.
I feel sorry for their parents. Who do you pull for?
One out front.
You can't win. One of them's going to lose.
Whichever one's leading, I guess.
The gap widening now. 1.2 seconds separating Kurt Busch from Kyle Busch.
I think Kyle used everything he had. Nothing left in that 18 car.
That almost slide job that he tried through 1 and 2, where he got just up to the side of the 1 but couldn't complete the pass, may have been the last effort that the 18 had in him.
Yes, but that 1 car, he has gotten really close to the 5 of Larson. That's really going to hurt him. A big gap's been created, but you can lose a ton of speed right here.
2 to go. Kurt needs another lap and a half. Perfect lap and a half as he comes up on the back bumper of the 5 of Kyle Larson. 1 lap to go, presented by Credit One Bank. The final time on this surface at Atlanta Motor Speedway. Kurt Busch looking for his 33rd career win, which would tie him with Fireball Roberts for 25th all-time in wins in the Cup Series. Fireball Roberts has won at Atlanta Motor Speedway. And now, out of 4 for the final time, Kurt Busch is going to win the brother duel. He wins in Atlanta.
That's for Keymark. That's how you do it. Way to go, guys. Woo!
His teammate Chastain.
Good job, pit crew. Excellent job today, boys.
Gave him a shout out.
And Kurt Busch is locked into the playoffs.
Ross made that happen, man. Shake it back, buddy. Shake it back.
Kurt Busch at 42 years old is still on top of his game. He is, we've said it before, everywhere he goes, he makes it better.
I can't believe the career this guy's had. Ups and downs, the growth, the personal change. And he has shook up the playoffs. He seems to have a habit of doing that.
12 different drivers have won in the Cup Series. Kurt Busch becoming the 12th. Now just 4 spots remain in that playoff picture.
Guys that came on in the last month, they were nowhere all season long. No speed, no results, and been arguably one of the best organizations in the last 4 or 5 weeks.
Spent some time this morning with Tony Lunder's general manager over there. Chip Ganassi is very proud of what they've done over the last couple months. Both cars. This will put a big smile on his face.
And a big smile on that driver's face right there. Crowd here in Atlanta saw a great battle between Kurt and Kyle. And you see the celebration and what it means to Kurt. The whole team out there celebrating with him. Marty.
Boy, Rick, you think about the clutch wins for Kurt Busch over the last 2 years. A couple years ago at Kentucky, got him into the playoffs. In the playoffs last year at Las Vegas, and he delivers here at his favorite racetrack, Atlanta Motor Speedway. Final race in this configuration. The fans love it. How about that, Kurt? More significant. I mean, obviously, it's the big playoff win. It puts you guys in the playoffs, but that you were able to beat your brother heads up on a green flag run for that long.
Hell yeah, we beat Kyle. Ready? I taught that kid everything he knows. He should be grateful, but what a battle, what a genuine, awesome, old school racetrack. And I just asked the track today, last time here on your old asphalt, can I have an old guy win? And she answered. So thank you, Atlanta Motor Speedway. This has been one of those years where I knew we were going to have our back up against the wall with trying to get in the cutoff, above the cutoff line, and race hard and race smart, and to have Gear Wrench in victory lane. This is their last race of the year. They're with us all year, and with Monster Energy, I couldn't have 2 great primary sponsors. What a Chevrolet today, hell yeah!
You said one for the old guys, Kurt, but it was your young teammate that you gave so much credit to. What was the key moment where he was able to push you by the 18?
Shake and bake, shake and bake. Yeah, man, the 42, he did his job as a teammate. Ross is gonna get a little flack for it, but that's what it takes to be a good teammate at the right moment. So I couldn't be more proud of Ross Chastain. I'll pay him back eventually, but right now this is our #1 car in victory lane.
You pull off these clutch wins all the time, Kurt, to put you in the playoffs, but with the unknown of next year, how big is this moment for you personally?
It's wonderful, for all of Ganassi. Trackhouse bought our team. I don't know where I'm going, but I just love racing cars, and I want to race that next-gen car. That's why I'm trying to stick around. Will you guys have me next year if I stick around?
Hey, Kurt, welcome to the playoffs. Congratulations.
Thank you. Appreciate it, guys.
Kurt Busch wins here at Atlanta, Dave.
Big win for Kurt. second place for Kyle today to your brother. What was the difference?
Just same as always. We just don't have enough front end with laps on tires. You know, I had everything I had there early, and then just smoked it behind the 42, obviously. Shows you what kind of driver he is. And just tried to fight hard after that when I got past, and had one valiant effort off of 2, but just didn't have enough momentum to drag him down and make him go high in 3 and 4. And after that, the tires were smoked. So, you know, great effort. Guys gave me a great piece. We were fast. One was definitely better than us today. I just thought I had him. And we did, you know, but racing just didn't play out that way for us. So the Skittles Gummies Camry was fast, and thanks to Toyota TRD, Rowdy Energy Drink, Interstate Batteries, all the guys, you know, good piece, just not quite good enough. Just need that tick more.
Kyle, describe for us how you got that lead under the green flag pit stops, because it looked like at that point that you did have the race in hand.
Yeah, I have no idea how I got it. I'd have to go back and look at all the metrics. You know, I don't know where we beat him. So, you know, just glad that we did. When I seen that we cycled out in front of him, I thought that was our shot, and certainly it was. Yeah.
All right. Kyle's second today here at Atlanta. Rick?
Thanks, Dave. Obviously, you can tell one brother to the next who's enjoying this win, obviously. And how about this? Checkered flag moment brought to you by Advanced Auto Parts. Gives that checkered flag to a fan. That's a great memento that she'll be able to cherish for a lifetime. Even though she is a Chase Elliott fan, she got the checkered flag from Kurt Busch.